Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. This is episode 105. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, Matt's here.
Yeah, go Knights go.
And I'm noting the very full, robust beard on Matt this week.
That's called a playoff beard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got four games to win for the Stanley Cup. Like, take that baby home to the desert.
What this is you're too busy watching to have time to shave.
Either that, or it's cold standing close to the ice rink, so he's just...
No, see, the mistake is
bit.
I don't have as much money to go watch the Knights in person because nobody thought they were going to do this well, and ticket prices exploded. So, playoff beards for most sports are... It's more of a commitment. Like, you're like, well, I'm going to grow this thing out no matter how bad it looks for as long as they're in the running.
And then you have to get rid of it as soon as they're knocked out.
As soon as they're knocked out, you get rid of it.
What happens if they win? You got to just keep it forever.
No. If you win, if they win, that's up to you. You can trim it, but like there's certain rules. Like you're not supposed to trim it, but like I have to trim my cheeks, or else I would just look like a Wookiee, right? And under my neck too, because it would be bad. But for the most part, this is just wild growth, like since the middle of April. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to shave my beard until Connor proves he's got a soul.
So
you'll be waiting a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Connor's here as well.
Yeah. Peter's going to come in with like a big, an old wizard beard.
He's gonna look dope. He's gonna look dope. He's gonna look like at one point Brian Azzarello's Ares from the Wonder Woman run.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's gonna lose the hairline battle sooner or later.
Hey.
And he's just gonna have the beard.
Probably sooner. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you gotta lean into it like Picard.
I'll have you know that my family line has this exact hair, like for the duration of the lifespan.
I'd just go bald.
That's happened
I
at
say that as a
22.
ginger.
Yeah.
You should probably be going bald anyway.
Yeah, I'm never going bald. I'm going grey.
Just shave it all off.
I'm on the path already, so I'm good.
Yeah. Every person that's ever cut my hair has complimented how nice my hair is. So I'm just gonna put that out there.
Well, we never see it because it's always covered by a hat.
Yeah. There's been some times where I just come in from work, and it's out and about. But yeah, tend to wear my hat.
I often get compliments my hair's quite soft. I always hear that.
Well, that's good. I mean, what's left of it, but hey.
Plenty left, you prick.
I just like the idea that Matt's actually gone bald in the last week since we've
And
seen him.
he's saying all this shit, but under that hat, it's all gone.
I'm not. See,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to shave my head. I've tried to shave my head a couple times, and my wife protests and says that my head's too lumpy. Which it might not be, but she knows where to hit me where it hurts. So
So I'd say you just put the razor back down.
yeah, and she's like, I don't want to be married to a golf ball. So that's another one too. Just like, all right.
As long as you keep the beard, though, then it's it balances out.
Yeah, if you shaved your head, you'd look like Jason Aaron.
Yeah, that's the goal, Pete.
Yeah.
I can't get him to sign off. Although his beard game is strong. Like I'm pretty sure he sacrificed a goat for that beard. So.
He absolutely did.
But yeah. Go Knights though. That's the leading statement. Not supposed to be there. They're the anomaly team. They're much like Wally West.
Oh dear. Okay, so we talk about comics. That's actually what we talk about on the show, not beards and hairs.
I mean, I don't know anymore.
I don't know. It's like who's winning? Like Matt's always hiding his, so you think he's a shame. Connor's ginger.
No, see,
I'm kind of thin on top.
A thick, full head of hair.
A nice,
A
thick,
ginger
full
hair.
head of hair. See?
It is ginger, though, yeah. Admittedly.
It's ginger, null and void.
But see how my hair is like one big cowlick all the time? That's why I wear a hat.
Having ginger hair is like getting a big box of chocolates. You get all excited, and then you find that they're all coffee flavoured.
Yeah, but I like
People
coffee flavored.
There we go.
Yeah.
Disgusting, vile. That's what you avoid.
As it's been pointed out, I have a type. As I had said, that Solo is the best thing Ron Howard's made since his daughter. So, yeah.
Well, ginger ladies are clearly better than ginger men, Matt. I mean, that goes without saying.
Well, I was also up for gingers until they piss me off. Then I want to eradicate them. It's a weird relationship.
He wants to eradicate gingers. This is starting to sound very
It's just
extreme.
like genocidal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Only when they upset me. Like
Gingercide.
Conan O'Brien's fine. Who else? Who else is a famous ginger? That's all I got really. It's Conan O'Brien.
That's it.
Maybe half the
what?
Weasleys.
What about your man Ron Weasley? What about him? You like Harry Potter?
Yeah, I mean he's fine. Like I like the other Weasleys more than Ron. So, you know.
What about Donald Gleason? You know,
Yeah, he's cool. He can stay around. But he's another Weasley.
he
right?
is. He is a Weasley.
Was he?
You know.
He was. Yeah.
He's Bill.
He was only in the last couple.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. I'll take your word for it. I don't remember those movies. But hey, let's talk about comics.
Overload might be having some new options coming up.
Oh god, no, Matt, don't. I've seen them all. It's fine. I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. It's fine. I don't need to see them again.
It's
Hey,
alright.
you
Just
don't
wait till you
remember?
play Lord of the Rings.
No, I will
No,
do that to myself.
no. Matt doesn't like Lord of the Rings either. Matt's on my side.
Take one for the team, Matt.
Nope.
Lord of the Rings, Cure for Insomnia, Part 2.
The best thing Kevin Smith's ever put in a movie is when he said even the trees walked in those movies. So, yeah.
Anyway, coming up on this week's show, we're only 6 minutes into it. Justice League No Justice number 3. We're going to have Detective Comics 981, the end of Tinian's run. We're going to have Wonder Woman 47. We have The Flash 47, the start of Flash War. We have Batgirl number 23, the end of Hope Larson's run. We have The Terrifics number 4. We've got Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 45. Mira, Queen of Atlantis number 4. Silencer number 5. Super Sons number 16, which was definitely meant to come out next week up until like very recently. It got moved forward, which is bizarre. It never happens almost, but hey. And also Connor is still doing his month of Red Hood and the Outlaws because someone ponied up the money to make him read it for a whole month. So Red Hood and the Outlaws number 20 is coming your way from Connor.
I feel like I'm going to get Stockholm Syndrome doing it this quickly.
Well, because it's like that. It's been very rare that I've ever read a series where I just read it back to back where I didn't think that like, oh, it was at least fun, you know.
Yeah, but you were never being tortured into a series. If you were feeling that, you just stopped reading.
Well, like so I wouldn't caught up on Sideways because Pete and all the praise. And when you read them back to back, I think it reads even better than the month to month recaps I was getting. So
It gets you hooked in a little bit better because you get to take it in a bit of a dump, and then you're into it better for the monthly because you're like already hooked into the characters.
Exactly. So I think you might end up with Stockholm Syndrome. If that's the case, then mission accomplished.
I'm not there yet. I just want to point that out. I'm just worried that it might happen.
There's still one more week in this month. Wait, yes.
Yes, there is.
I don't have time. I am not a time lord, as we know from last week.
What happened
I
last
remember
week?
last
We
week, yeah.
proved you weren't a Time Lord. What was the...
We're talking about Booster, right? That was last week.
Ah, okay, yeah, sure.
Oh,
Right.
I'm with you.
It's good.
Maybe I am a Time Lord, and that's the problem. You guys consume too much stuff when you can't remember what we talked about last week.
Oh god,
Well,
yeah.
that was a whole week ago.
Yeah, I feel we could
Set.
go. We've watched like 8 TV shows since then. Come on now.
I know.
How much can I retain?
I watched 2 episodes of Krypton since then.
Did
how
you
you
enjoy it?
Huh?
Did you enjoy
Is
it,
that
Matt?
me?
Are you
Yeah,
digging
so
it?
far, episode 2 wasn't nearly as strong as the first episode, but
Yeah, that's fair.
it's TV,
Just,
right?
yeah, I mean, but how did you think of the look of Brainiac and his shit?
I'm excited. 'Cause
Is,
that's
Two, 2, 3, and 4 are like, yeah, these are all right. It picks up again massively, in like 5
5.
onwards.
Episode 5, Matt, the ending's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Does that have
So-
something to do with the guy with the mask that goes all the way around his head?
Oh, the voice of
So
Rout?
that-
Not exactly, but still, cool things with him too.
Oh, good. But
So, it got renewed this week, actually, so, there's going to be more. So,
that's good. I mean, and for a show on the Sci-Fi Network, it's got a really good budget because it doesn't feel, like sometimes the CW
Doesn't
shows
feel
feel
cheap
like,
at all. Yeah.
yeah, where you can tell like, oh, they have this location for 3 episodes, so they were going to use it.
yeah. Oh, no, because Brainiac himself looks fantastic. He looks, he should be in the movies, basically, is what I'm saying. He looks that good.
Oh yeah, whatever we get in the movies probably won't look as good as this.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No.
Just since we brought up sci-fi, The Expanse got saved. I'm happy. Yay, good news,
Yeah.
excitement.
How did it get saved?
Amazon picked it up.
Oh, okay.
The head of Amazon happens to be a fan, so he basically ordered, let's pay for it. Let's make more
I
Expanse.
saw the way he announced it as well. He was just at
Yeah.
a conference on something entirely different.
Yeah, that was it was
But-
because the cast of the Expanse were there because it was a science event. It was like a science
Yeah.
conference. So there was like an Expanse panel because the show's so good with its science. And then later on, he was out talking about stuff, and he just casually dropped, "Oh, by the way, I just found out 10 minutes ago the Expanse is saved," and then everyone started cheering.
Yeah.
Is this the actual head of Amazon?
Yeah, this is
Like,
Bezos. Yeah.
Bezos. There we go. I couldn't remember his name, but wow, that is hilarious. He's
good
buying
stuff.
newspapers. He doesn't know what he has, and now he's
Yeah.
saving the Expanse.
Oh, and Connor's. Oh, he's bending over. Oh my! You're almost getting ass crack here on camera, folks. Almost getting ass crack. Connor's got his ass crack out.
We're gonna get this banned.
I'll have to put a parental advisory warning on this episode.
Oh my god, you just need to put like I don't know, a face on there. Because that's a sense
The
of
one
art.
where Connor was bending over. Oh, his mic's not on. Now he's just talking
I
to
assumed
sounds.
my sound
Oh,
is
you're
cut out.
back now.
I assumed you were going to jump in with a red hood button.
No, no. I was just talking about your ass crack. Well,
Ah, okay. It's the windows are open at both ends of the house, and it's just the doors pissing me off.
yes. All the blowing. So yeah, Expanse saved. I recorded a little extra audio bit because this came out after we did the TV news yesterday. So I recorded a little audio insert just to acknowledge, hey, it's been saved. I'm not letting this be out of date.
You know what? I had a moment when I saw you put it up on YouTube. I saw it had
Yeah.
gone up as Expanse is saved, and I was like, I remember talking about that. I clicked on it, and you were like, oh, there's a bit at the end. I was like, how drunk was I last night? I was like, I don't remember doing that at all.
No, I've never done this before. I did because I was on my own. I just did audio. I did a freeze frame at the end of that story, and just like, oh, update, guys, last minute save, Expanse. We'll talk about it properly in the news next week. But I was like, no, I'm putting this in. I'm not letting this sit here like, oh, we're talking about like it might get saved. No, it's saved. It's good. So,
It really confused.
really exciting news though. Anyway, comics news first though. Comic news. So. Hey, that was a nice bit of natural, casual, small talk to start off the show.
Yeah, almost like we're all humans and not,
Robots? Borgs?
Something. I don't
Yes.
I wouldn't go as far as saying friends, but
Well, Connor, you and I bonded over Star Wars, and
yeah.
Keith,
But then there's that monster over there who won't go and see Solo.
you know.
Do you know what? I feel so free, invigorated by that choice. You know,
I'm glad, because now we don't have to hear you bitch and complain about it.
It's funny. All
It's
the
great.
shite you made Matt watch over the years.
Hey, I still
You
watch a
wanted to
lot
hit
of shite
the
for
pig.
review purposes. I think at this point with the 10th Star Wars movie, I have a bit more of a advantage to say, hey, you know what? I think there's not much.
More than the fifth Transformers movie.
I didn't make him go see the fifth one. I haven't opted out the fifth one. I didn't see that either.
Fourth one, sorry.
Yeah, no, he made me see the fourth one.
Yes, and then we made a
Oh.
choice afterwards. You know what? It's not worth doing anymore, and we've been happier ever since. It's like a marriage with a rocky patch. We had to get some therapy. Made some sacrifices.
Michael Bay was the cause of it. It was bad.
All right, there was DC news this week.
That said,
Oh.
I watched it, and now you're seeing Skyscraper.
Do you want me to see Skyscraper, Matt? I'll see it for you, Matt.
Thank you, sir.
Like he wasn't going to see it anyway.
Rock's taking on a
Oh, sure.
skyscraper. I'm into it.
With the prosthetic leg, I am so excited.
I'll see Skyscraper. I am legitimately more excited for Skyscraper than I am Solo. All right, DC news. Unless anyone wants to
Yes.
interrupt me again and drag this out even longer. No, good. All right, DC news. Supergirl's back.
Yeah.
All right, don't sound too excited.
We're waiting for you to share the details.
Okay, Supergirl is back. Not a number one; it is continuing its numbering, which is interesting because the original number 20 solicit, which was the final issue up until now, never said final issue, which makes me wonder if they always kind of like, okay, we're bringing that back in a few months, so it's not actually the final issue; it's just going on hiatus before the new run starts.
It's a weird situation because it happened with Cyborg as well.
Yeah.
But did that have a final issue tag?
I think that might have done, but that was different because I feel like that was actually uncancelled. Where even though they're saying that for Supergirl, I feel like this is clearly spraying out of what Bendis is doing with Superman. So I think they just kind of knew this was going to happen, but they were just putting the pieces in place, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, Supergirl 21 is back in August, written by Mark Andreyko, who's going to be on the new run. Kevin Maguire's doing the art, who I believe is one of Bendis' Marvel buddies, who's kind of jumped ship. I could be wrong.
Was it Kevin Maguire?
Yeah.
No,
What was that?
I'm not familiar with them.
No, Kevin Maguire has done a lot of DC work. He did a lot of stuff with, I think, Giffen, right? It's Giffen and Maguire.
Recently, though?
Let's look this up.
So, anyway, I'll give you the solicit while you're looking that up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mourning the loss of Kryptonians wiped out by Rogol Zar, that's the new Bendis villain, Supergirl decides to play detective and sets off into deep space to learn more about the would-be usurper. Using whatever tech she can scrounge, Supergirl builds a star cruiser, and after intel from Green Lantern, she blasts off into the cosmos with Rogol Zar's deadly axe. She gets an axe. Supergirl's getting an axe, Matt. Get excited.
I'm in.
To solve the mystery, along with a travelling companion you won't believe. So she's got a buddy with her. I don't know who it's going to be, though. They're teasing it. It's worth mentioning, Jorge Jimenez designed a bunch of new suits for her. She has like a regular blue one, which, you know, before anyone panics about the other ones, that seems to be what she'll be wearing as a normal suit when she gets back to Earth. But she's been given some space suits, which in the interviews and stuff when they announced all this, they did say that these have some attributes, because, you know, she won't necessarily have her solar powers in space depending where she goes. So these are suits designed to help her out with that. So she's got like the cape's kind of got like a sash thing that comes down the front. It looks a bit more regal. I actually much prefer the second version of it that's red and black. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me on that.
I don't really have a preference. I like all of them. I don't know. They all work for me.
I'm not super into the main one that we're showing off, but I like the red and black version.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
And obviously,
Yeah, so Kevin Maguire did work with Bendis on 2 issues of Guardians of the Galaxy.
okay.
Other than that, he mainly been working with Keith Giffen. Did, like, I Can't Believe It's Not the Justice League, JLA Classified, Batman Confidential. He did an arc there.
So these are,
So-
but they're a while ago though, right? Like he's not done anything for DC in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not in a while. So that's good. I think he fits. He's done a lot of covers though recently.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
I think it's interesting. I was looking up Andreyko. What told me he did the Death of Hawkman most recently.
Oh, we enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
Andreyko.
But interesting. He co-wrote something with Bendis a while back.
Ah,
So,
okay, there you go.
There's a connection
That
there.
makes some sense. I mean, we kind of speculated that maybe they were going to relaunch it, tying into whatever Bendis was doing. So I'm glad they're not renumbering it though. I'm glad it's just 21. We'll go from here.
Yeah,
It's fine. No, that's cool. So no, I'm excited. I'm glad to have Kara back. I was bummed that it was leaving. I'm cool with some cosmic mystery. I like that it's tying into the villain stuff. I wonder what Kryptonians are going to die though. Mourning the loss of Kryptonians. Like, which Kryptonians? Who's dying?
Yeah.
I mean, I always like to think that it wasn't just Baby Kal-El that got out, but he just ended up on Earth. Like there were other Kryptonians that made it out.
Yeah.
And this guy has been going around and eliminating them.
Yeah, he's,
So-
he's basically Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. He's going around going, Kryptonians, and killing them all.
Yeah. And he's going for whatever reason that it is. I'm sure we'll find out.
I'm sorry,
So
Connor.
it could be that.
I'll do my regular Buffy reference later. I just wanted to get a Resident Evil one in this week, alright?
That's fine. It's fine. I got that reference.
Cue the Captain America
But,
gift from Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, Supergirl with an axe. I like when she goes into space. Like the Citadel stuff was always really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You know, and even the new Krypton stuff that Sterling Gates did, where she was dealing with
Superwoman.
Kandor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who was Superwoman?
No, I mean,
And him.
I thought Death of Hawkman was a solid, fun little mini. So I'm cool with Andreyko being on it.
Andreyko's did some other stuff. I think he relaunched Manhunter back a long time ago, and that's where we got the lawyer version.
If I was to make a guess about
that was him. Yeah.
the Kryptonians,
Yeah.
I'd maybe guess that I'm wondering if like Rogol Zar like had some imprisoned or something. Like not like a bottled city like Brainiac had with Kandor, but like, I wonder if he had like Kryptonian prisoners that he ends up killing or something. Like maybe
Like a camp.
yeah, like maybe like
Some
Superman and
kind.
Supergirl try to save them in Man of Steel and they fail and Rogol Zar kills them all or something. I don't know. I'm just wondering. Like, I mean, no other Kryptonians I know are kicking around really, or Zod and his family. But
I see Kara
oh,
more
man,
in them that much.
yeah,
no, but I could, but I hope not because the way that Venditti revitalized them in the pages of
yeah.
Green Lantern.
I don't see him killing
Or-
Zod. I mean,
else.
Maybe he kills Zod's
Maybe.
kid, which would really piss off Zod for a start.
It would, and it would unify him with Kal-El for whatever reason. Like,
Yeah.
That would be
yeah,
interesting,
no, this
though.
is exciting.
That would be interesting, though, actually, just to think about that, if he has to team up with Zod. Like, if Zod, because this is an enemy of Krypton, like, Zod's up for teaming up with the elves. I don't know.
Did you ever read the World of New Krypton stuff where Superman went over there?
Do you know, I haven't yet. It's been on my to-read list for a while.
There you go, because there's a lot of it there where you get to see a more good-natured, like Zod's doing his job.
Now, ever since I read, John's Brainiac way back in the day, I've always meant to go on and read all the new Krypton stuff and all the stuff.
And John's really fleshed him out. I mean, that version and this version that are around now are not simpatico whatsoever. But I feel like you could hit some of the same beats where you get to know the real side of Zod, not the crazy despot that likes to scream. So, but yeah, no, this is cool. What other news we got?
Matt, keep this moving. Move it along. What's next? No, but to be fair, we did talk about everything there. So yeah, Supergirl. Happy it's back. Next up, we're getting a mini from Scott Peterson and Kelly Jones, a Batman mini called Batman Kings of Fear. Kelly Jones, of course, is a classic Batman artist. Scott Peterson was once a Batman editor. Which the start of this list tells you about that. But here's the plot synopsis. Batman's been overseeing Gotham City for years now and isn't sure how much of a difference he's making. Doubt, fear and insecurity are starting to take over, and as of all those negative feelings set in, the Scarecrow orchestrates a riot in Arkham Asylum to give the Dark Knight one of his greatest challenges yet. The 6-issue miniseries will see the Scarecrow in a horrifying new way that you'll have to read to believe. So that's going to be fun. It's a Batman mini with some classic art.
I like the sound of the premise. Seems like a great story to bring in Scarecrow.
I'm not looking at it right now, but did the cover have like a classic Batsuit? Is this out of continuity?
I don't
Probably.
know. I haven't seen it.
I just looked him up.
Yeah.
Scott Peterson. He was the assistant of Denny O'Neil. That's where he started.
Okay, so we're classic era then.
Yeah. So most likely it's going to be out of tail because he was an editor for reading here, like the Batman Adventures book, which was Paul Dini and Bruce Timm.
Oh yeah, the animated series. Book. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's very much a Kelly Jones suit with the the yellow oval and
I thought
giant ears.
I thought I remember the yellow oval from the cover.
It's got the Kelly Jones huge ears, which I
that's
always
cool.
think of.
That's gonna be a fun, really kind of. Let's just go nuts with Scarecrow then, because it's an out of continuity story. Why not?
Yeah, you got a bunch of the other villains on the cover as well. Scarecrow's kind of in the background as a silhouette, like manipulating it all.
That makes sense if it's in Arkham and he's using them all as pawns. Makes a lot of sense. So that's a 6-issue mini Batman King of Fear that's starting in August. So also obviously we'd heard about this leaked from Twitter, but just to confirm, Adventures of the Super Sons issue 1 of a 12-issue series is starting in August. Art by Carlo Barberi, who's been doing the issues recently as well. Also Art Thibbert's with him on the art. And 12-issue series. This solicit makes a lot more sense having read this week's issue actually, part of it. But just to say this here. So the Super Sons are back in an all-new 12-issue miniseries written by Peter J. Tomasi. Check out the lost and secret adventures of Damian Wayne and John Kent in this flashback miniseries that takes a deep dive into the bombastic romance between the sons of the DC Universe's greatest heroes. The epic dual storyline that transcends current events as Superboy and Robin find themselves targets of an interstellar team of young badasses called the Gang. That flashback thing may have had me worried, but having read this week's Super Sons, it's fine.
Yeah.
I know what they're doing with it, it's fine.
I'll be interested to hear what you're on about here.
Yeah, we'll save it for the issue.
Yeah.
But I know what they're meaning when they say that now, having read this issue, because it kind of sets it up. But yeah, so that's the new stuff. It's worth mentioning August is an annual month, so here's the annuals you're going to get in August. You're getting Batgirl Annual number 2. It is worth mentioning this is a James Gordon Jr. story. Seemingly Silence of the Lambs style, where he's helping take down another serial killer. So that does sound quite interesting. It's the same writers who's doing Marhead Scott, who's doing the run starting with issue 26. Damage Annual number 1. Nightwing Annual number 1. Otto Schmidt's on the art for that one, and Vicky Vale's guest starring, so that sounds cool. Red Hood and the Outlaws Annual number 2. Put it on your to-do list, Connor.
I will not.
The Silencer Annual number 1 and Suicide Squad Annual number 1. So the 6 annuals, 3 of which are books we cover, 3 of which we don't. So, But
Yeah.
those are the annuals that are coming in August. So worth
Got,
mentioning.
they're pumping out a few Bendis books as well, aren't they? Not DC.
Oh sure, yeah, the
books, but-
creator-owned books. We've got Pearl and we got Scarlet. They're both miniseries.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I know someone we all know is gonna be very excited over Scarlet, even
Oh,
though
yeah.
it's coming
Yeah.
out through DC.
Do you know what? I have
Yeah.
to admit, seeing Alex Maleev as the artist on all 5 issues of that honestly makes me, even though I've never read any Scarlet
The
whatsoever.
only thing
Yeah.
that upsets me is it means that he's busy on that, and we can't have him on a proper DC book for
Give it
another
time.
half
For
a
5
year.
months, yeah, for 5 months. But I'm hoping,
Yeah.
that they end up poaching him for something.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Maybe an event or something. Something that's not like a long thing, but something that he'll do for like a 6-issue
Even
miniseries.
even just a mini, like yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
So
I'd be down with that.
Just something.
But yeah, so that was the solicits news. The only thing that I have to add to that is, you know how we've been hearing rumours of the Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp Green Lantern, and it's worth mentioning, of course, that Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, number 50 in August is the final issue of that series. Now, obviously, that makes us think they're probably relaunching a Green Lantern book in September or October. Just to add on to those rumours, Big Bang Comics, an Irish comic shop, one of their employees, or the owner, whoever it is, went to see Liam Sharp at a con. And there's the photo with them, on the Twitter, saying, hey, we ran into Liam Sharp. And they mentioned that Liam Sharp showed them the first few pages of his next project, and it'll make you, quote, green with envy. So just feel on that green flame. Just, Liam Sharp, Grant Morrison,
Yeah.
Green Lantern. Or at least Liam Sharp, seemingly. He seems, almost confirmed at this point. But there you go. So.
We're getting Catwoman redesign as well.
Oh, true. Yeah, there's a redesign. Joel Jones has got a new design for Catwoman's costume.
We haven't had a redesign in a long time for Catwoman.
Yeah, I mean,
oh,
I'm a
what's it
fan.
look like?
It's a little bit more like classic Batman Returns style, sort of like.
Yeah, goggles are gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh dear.
I do like the goggles look. So, but at the same time, I like this one too. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Suits Jonesy's style. There's already a couple of images out and about. So,
Because confirmation that Batwoman's ending with 18.
that's true. Yeah. Again, I didn't feel it news because we already knew it. But
It's
yeah.
not. We just to have the official word.
Yeah, it does say final issue in the solicit, because I speculated briefly, and I don't necessarily think it is, but because the way that Yang's talking about it on Twitter, I don't expect it, but New Superman's final issue doesn't say final issue, so I speculated briefly that maybe like Supergirl is like a planned continuation coming, but
Yeah.
it also feels like that's not a book that was going to last that long, so I'm not necessarily expecting it, but I thought it was
Well,
worth
no, it
mentioning.
feels like they're clearing the table for Bendis, and then once Bendis gets established, they can start reintroducing stuff.
It does feel that way, especially with Supergirl and Super Sons, where
Yep.
okay, they're ending or ended. Bendis is coming in. There's no Superman books at the moment, because we've had the specials,
Mhm.
and we're gonna have Man of Steel on its own, and then Superman in Action on their own for like a month, and then we come back in with Supergirl and Super Sons.
Yeah.
I think it's just interesting to see that.
Yeah, that's but hey, that's fine. I'll admit, I was expecting some bigger things in the August solicits, but I guess they're holding off for at least September. And by that I mean this new Green Lantern book, and
Because we got hyped up that we were due things, and,
Yeah.
and timing seemed to line up that we thought maybe.
now I didn't see this myself, but I did see someone on Twitter say. So I don't know what the source of this is, but apparently Joshua Williamson did kind of confirm a book was spun out of the Flash after Flash War.
Okay.
Which again lines up with some rumours that we heard about what was happening later in the year.
Does.
So, hey, exciting things.
Part of me doesn't want those rumors to be right because of where they came from, but the other part of me is like,
Just
these
give me
are
those thoughts
stuff-
right now.
yeah, these are stuff that I'd be interested in no matter what. Because look what Sharp's doing with mythology in
Yeah.
Brave and the Bold, and then you add Green Lantern mythos, and if Morrison's telling those stories, like it's gonna be this big epic feeling. So yes, and then a second Flash book, please. He's like my third favorite character in DC. So
Yeah, it'll be a Wally Wally book.
Wally Wally.
They can use the Wonder Woman logo
That's fine.
for Wally Wally. Wonder Woman
Wally.
logo with a flash bolt through it.
Would they move to Walla Walla? City?
Wally Wally and Walla Walla. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Well, obviously, we're going to start off with the big event book of the week. That is Justice League No Justice number 3. Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, and James Tynion the fourth writing. Riley Rosmo and Marcus Toe on the art. Hold it in, Connor. I'll give you a floor in a minute.
I was gonna say let Connor let out a primal scream so he feels better.
Remember how last week Connor was complaining that Manipul wasn't the only artist?
So I woke up Wednesday morning. This is the first thing that I read, and immediately when I saw Manipul not on the cover, messaged Connor going, "Hey buddy,
I never noticed on the cover. I just started reading it, and it was like maybe just towards the bottom of the first page where I sort of clicked and went, "Wait a minute, this art looks really different."
Do you know what the thing is though? Matt told me that, and then I put off reading it. This stopped being the thing that I was going to read first, and then became like fourth.
Hey,
oh no, full disclosure.
I'm just looking out for you, buddy.
Full disclosure. This was never what I was going to read first. This was what I read third because Tech and Flash were taking priority this week for me. But you know.
Yeah, no.
To each their
no,
own.
I say Flash for last. Let's but no, I read this first. It's the big event. This is, we know me. I love continuity. I love big stories. So the art, though, I'm just going to get it out of the way because this is my biggest problem with the book. Rosmo's art style does not match this book.
It doesn't.
It's ugly. Rosmo is fantastic in shadowy things. But dark, gritty, grimy. Here, the big cosmic, colourful stuff, it's atrocious.
I think it's hit and miss. I think it's finding certain characters. I think Martian Manhunter on the first page, I couldn't tell it was him until he was called Marty. Like, I wasn't sure who it was. And then I think I think like this the following page, like Batman's like sort of more cartoony face kind of works. It doesn't necessarily fit the style of the book, but it looks fine. I think as an image on its own.
But we've seen.
Oh, Matt, you make.
Well, yeah, no, but this thing, I think it's quite an ugly Batman, and I think this is the problem of when Rosmo's doing a Batman book and it's in shadow. Batman looks great. This just wasn't working.
Well, hold on, right? So I think the Batman looks fine for the most part. Like I think there's certain characters who look fine. For me, where it really shits the bed is when we get to Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Oh god, yeah, that's awful.
Wonder Woman looks absolutely atrocious in this book, and
Lex Luthor looks terrible as well. On that second page.
Zatanna looks terrible.
Yeah, but it's almost like it gets worse as it goes on. Once you get to the middle of the book, and it's funny because obviously the Earth parts are still Marcus Toe, but eventually Marcus Toe just takes over the main parts as well. It's almost like it was getting worse and worse, and then he taps out, and Marcus Toe comes in and finishes the rest of the book.
Yeah, but look at that page with Brainiac. That's the double page, like with the shadows.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that's
it looks.
That side of it's alright, yeah.
That's his best page. I think his Beast Boy looks okay as well, honestly.
But yeah, it makes me wonder because at least in the last issue we had that split between Toe and Manipul. Here, there's no clear split.
And Manipul did say in a stream this week that issue 4 is all him. So
yeah,
I was debating with Matt earlier in the week about how the fill-in artists are killing my enthusiasm for books. And Matt was saying, hey, the story comes first to him, and that's but I finally got an analogy that I can liken it to.
Yeah,
it's like in a movie, it's where they change the actors for the characters like 3 or 4 times over the course of a movie for no reason. Like sometimes you can allow it. Like okay, there's a flashback, so you get a different actor, right? If it's for a different age, and so that in the equivalent here is okay. So there's a different artist for the flashback. Well, to me that was still a little disappointing, but at least I can understand the split. Here it was the different locations, whereas now it's just like okay, different artist is like just changing the actors. Yeah, the story's still there, but it's really distracting, and it kind of takes you out of it.
I can get over it, but I will admit the art in this issue is a bit of a hodgepodge.
It's jarring, and it did make me like it, not as much as I have the previous 2.
Yeah.
It's something I feel is going to like ruin the trade later. When I go and read this as a trade, like as 4 issues.
But that's the thing. As much as I enjoy the story, I don't feel like this is just the table setter. And I feel like, I might read this 15 years from now, but this is not a story I'm going to hold near and dear like some of the other ones. Like I like to go back and read. So
I think notably most of the stories that you have at that have just one artist, right?
Yeah, no, they do. If this was Manipul, maybe I would. But even then, I am enjoying the story a lot. I just feel like this is the prologue to whatever Snyder's going to do.
It is, yeah.
You know, but there are some really cool moments in this. You know, plus Starbro takes center stage. Like,
Yeah.
I love his dialogue with Martian Manhunter.
No, his stuff's great, and then he's like, "Hey, Atom, make me big, enlarge me," and then he flies up and tries to take on the Omega Titan. He tries to take him over, and he's like he facehuggers him basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic Starro style, and then poor Starro gets ripped in half, and he's dead.
Yeah, bad news for him.
He's gone.
I'm gutted that we've lost Starbro because, you know,
Me too.
one of the best parts of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And
That said, though, we you know, that's how Starro goes. I'm sure there'll be more.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we're not seeing the last of
Also,
Starro, but
If biology of space starfish is the same as Earth starfish, as
we'll
long
get
as there's a piece of the center, it'll grow a whole other one.
Yeah.
You know, they can clone. So
which hell, I wouldn't even surprise me if that's a big moment in the 4th issue where like multiple Starros come in to help.
I'd love that.
But
yeah, so the gist
I
of
also
the
go ahead.
I was just gonna say the gist of the issue then is that they have to light up the other trees, but dampen the Wisdom one because the Wisdom one's the one that's dominant on the planet. So Cyborg siphons out the data banks or the data core from the Wisdom tree. Wonder Woman uses her lasso to free the spirits, the spirit priests of the Wonder Tree, and the other trees are kind of working. While Sinestro with his ring. With Starro calming the minds of everyone in the planets, including Tamaran. That was one of the planets in the balls. That's Starfire's planet. They basically take all those planets into space so they can all regrow and be back.
Here's the thing that my with the mystery, I feel like it's kind of amorphous because I get that Entropy's in the prison, and I get that the wisdom, right, is coming out of the databanks, and the wonder's coming out of the magic, and how dead that one is because it is Kalu. This mystery one, just I don't feel it has that mystery of the planets. Like, I understand that's probably gonna be the central story.
I think it was the idea of the mystery of what's in there, and you know when they say when they release it, it's the mystery of all these lives that are now there to impact the universe, and what will they do?
Right, but if the mystery. If what grew the tree was the mystery of what's in there, when you let it all go, doesn't that ruin the mystery and now that weakened your tree? Like, I feel like they shot themselves in the foot there.
Maybe.
Yeah. And if that's the intent, because that's how they end up kind of failing Kolu, however we're pronouncing it.
No, I don't think so. I think it's because once it's revealed, everyone starts to think about it, therefore the mystery is strengthened.
People are going, oh, I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to avoid using the word wonder because the other one's wonder.
Yeah, because of the wonder.
Yeah, but it works here.
Because jumping to the end, Kalu ends up getting destroyed by the Omega Titan. I mean, they managed to get people off.
They evacuate it, but
these big arc ships and
Kalu's gone. Can I just interject here, just to add back to the art? Cyborg also looks really rough. I'm just on one of his pages.
Harley Quinn as well.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Wonder Woman is the bottom of the barrel.
Do you know what really gets me? Is on the double page spread where Cyborg's taking in the info. Flash, the bolts managed to be uneven.
You're right.
Yeah,
that's
I just
rough.
feel like Rosmo has a style, and the style, it might not be everyone's style, but it works. Like Batman Shadow, it worked. And I'm trying to think what other.
The first
I've seen.
2 of the issues of Night of the Monster Men that he did were fine.
Yeah. The problem is, and we're saying, that panel near the start with Brainiac in the shadow is great. So what we're saying is, his work's fantastic when you can only see about a third of it.
No. That's I don't think that's fair. What we're saying is that when he's working in his style and the whole thing is designed to work with his art, it functions.
Yeah, because he has a very cartoony manga-esque, like it's big and blocky, and that's almost the opposite.
Honestly, just to add on to this, I think on top of that, this is just rushed. I don't think this is Riley Rosmo at his best. I don't think it's just that he doesn't fit. I think some of this is just we are, struggling on time, you just need to shit it out and get it out there.
Yeah.
And some of the pages feel like that. It's after that double page spread though, with the Flash's crooked thingies, that we switch completely to Toe, because
And suddenly it's bearable.
yeah, I mean, I would say it's good. It's not even just bearable. It's a solid art after this. It's obviously it's annoying that it's changed,
the way
but
that Toe draws Starfire.
yeah,
Yeah, it is a really nice Starfire.
It is, because it's just she doesn't have her pupils, and just it's very
The colours really pop, doesn't it? With the orange and the purple.
I'll tell you what panel I like when they're fighting the Omega Titan, because obviously at this point they've all kind of converged, instead of, except for the ones who are evacuating, and all the big heavy hitters are fighting the Titan. I love the panel of Martian Manhunter between the teeth, holding the mouth open slightly. Yeah.
It's very Superman. Like, that could have been Superman, or it could have been Manhunter, but I'm glad it was Manhunter.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite panels is the second page that he takes over, and right at the top you just have the Omega Titan.
That's right.
Yeah,
it looks pretty great.
He's a good artist. Toe's great. I wish Toe did the whole issue. If we weren't going to get Manapul, I wish it was just Toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Starfire, the Starfire, sorry, Starro, to mix up my stars.
Yeah.
Starro's like, hey, shoot me with your thing and make me big, and he's like, okay. And then Starro, as he flies off towards the Omega Titan, it will do this. Bwah ha 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 ha. Do you feel me now, Titan? Do you feel the might of Starro the Conqueror? I love it.
Yeah. He's like, I've conquered worlds upon worlds. Your puny mind is no match for mine.
Until he gets ripped in half.
Until he gets ripped in half. He gets ripped in half like Superman ripping open his shirt.
Yep. Even with the rip sound effect, like, it's rough.
That is really rough.
The Omega Titans are playing for keeps, and then we flash back to Earth, and I always love when Green Arrow can just launch an arrow straight to a gun barrel.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's good stuff.
That's a 1 in a million shot.
Because Waller's ready to be bombed. He's like, oh, we need to just bomb this site regardless of us being here. He's like, no, we're killing us and all the other heroes. Come on now. But of course, as soon as Kola gets destroyed, all the seeds on Earth, because there's 4 of them. There's not just the one at the fortress. There's one at Star Labs, one at Belle Reve, and one at Tower of Fate, and they all spawn. And it's like, by the way, the Titans aren't coming. They're already here. So we get this final page with the 3 other Titans arriving. This does make me question, though, that ending scene from the DC Nation.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't line up with us at all. We're Supergirl. This is a completely different context.
Do you know what it reminds me of? To go back a few years now. Do you remember when we got the Zero issues in New 52?
Yes.
And I'm specifically talking about Snyder's Batman.
Yep.
He did a Zero issue about, the Red Hood stuff, and it was supposed to lead into. And then when we got to Zero Year, it was in.
No, you just Brainiac for like a second there. It was just a quick thing, but it was almost like something was trying to invade for a second and then went away.
Oh, I was like, what did I say?
It went.
But when we got to Zero Year, it was completely different to what he'd shown in that. And it was more supposed to be a thematic idea to show rather than a literal prologue.
And I feel that's what this was in the DC Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though to have a character there who isn't now. Like, it's one thing for it not to match up exactly, but
I think the next issue could start with Supergirl, but the Green Arrow thing doesn't, unless they teleport it out via whatever.
Because at this point, I mean, Supergirl should be free because she wasn't with any of the leagues that were fighting Brainiac, because they were the ones who were all taken. But I don't know. We'll see if she pops up in the next issue.
Tube's last issue, where she wouldn't see her.
No, we didn't see her. No.
But I do like all these trees sprouting up at the different places, and it's not synonymous. It's similar to where they were on Kalu, which is nice.
Yeah. The one that Green Arrow and Waller, that's Mystery, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Mystery's Krypton, because that's got all the relics of the other worlds and stuff and whatnot.
Yeah. So you've got
Fate's Wonder, Belle Reeve's Entropy, and Star Labs' Wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all makes sense. It makes sense that these are the equivalents. I mean, I dig that they're all racing back home now to try and save Earth because shit, the trees have all spawned. My only concern is how do we wrap this up in an issue? And I know it won't be completely wrapped up because we're building it in No Justice, or Justice League rather. But New Justice even is what we're calling that whole line. But I don't know. I'm just curious how this is all going to wrap up in one issue.
I feel whatever happens, they're going to stave off the Omega Titans. And then Earth they'll always have that threat, You know, unless we keep things balanced,
So
then they'll be back.
yeah, that'll be the way to beat them, probably, is to keep it balanced between the four trees. I wonder, are we pretty sure that all these planets getting released is kind of what the focus of Odyssey is going to be?
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's why they have Darkseid there, right? Like he'd be familiar. He's from the Source Wall, right? He's spent time there. So
Well, he's got amnesia, but yeah, other than that.
Oh, he does have amnesia, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have to assume he remembers something if they're bringing him for questioning, right?
Right.
Like for information.
That's it.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
there's no
that's
point.
right.
The cover for issue 2, which by the way is fantastic, it's beautiful, and the solicits for August, it's seemingly they're all fighting Darkseid, so we'll see how the actual team
How
membership.
long that lasts.
I
Works
won't
out,
mind a nerfed version of Darkseid, just because you have some of that there.
I do wonder if it's interesting, instead of if they're going looking at all those planets, if they're almost patrolling the Source Wall, going, all right, okay, nothing else can come through.
I wonder, like, what would fascinate me about the whole Darkseid thing is if SA has amnesia the entire time he's with them until eventually the run ends or whatever, or if he eventually leaves somewhere in the middle. I like the idea that he'll remember all his time with them. He'll get all his memories back from before, but he'll still remember being with them and not knowing and working with them. And the idea that it has some sort of like small effect on him, like there's like a hint of compassion just in there now, because he actually worked with the heroes for a time, without all the baggage of all his evil villainy and everything he always thinks about.
Yeah. Well, I always like the idea that he's just a conqueror because he's trying to get the anti-life. Like anything else after that, like what's he going to do after he uses the anti-life equation? Just sit and rule? That's not Darkseid's thing.
I think he goes to the beach and reads a book.
Yeah, it could be.
He goes and hangs out with Thanos inside the Soul Stone. What are you talking about?
He has no time for that. He doesn't need jewelry. Darkseid is. So but no, and then we have to think that Justice League Dark's gonna be dealing with that magic side in the same way that Odyssey was dealing with the mystery side.
So obviously Dark is dealing with, okay, magic's changed.
Yep.
I wonder if Odyssey is, okay, what else came through the Source Wall? And they're like, patrolling and going, okay, well, this came through, let's go deal with that.
Part of the reason
Justice League's keeping everything in check.
Yeah, part of the reason why I'm wondering if these planets getting released are a big part of Odyssey is because now that we know that Starfire's planet's one of them, I feel like it makes sense that she's on that team, that she wants to be involved in dealing with this.
It does, yeah.
So,
well, I listened to a podcast real quick about Starfire, and I never realized she was banished from Tamaran by her sister. And this
current continuity, well, admittedly, I've not gotten super far in New Teen Titans yet, but I've been reading the original New Teen Titans run, and she was, at least so far than my reading, she was offered as like a peace offering to stop a war that's been raged between
from the Citadel.
Yeah, from the Citadel. Yeah.
And then Blackfire takes over her sister, and then like full out banishes her.
Yeah, I don't know what the current version is because I know there was a story on this in the New 52 Red Hood.
There was, and it's probably the best.
Connor, you know what you have to do? You have to go back.
I don't remember it. I vaguely.
I remember it very much. They come. There's a Tamaran resistance. They come to Earth going.
A big ship.
Princess Coriander, we need you. You're our general.
Yeah.
And she takes the outlaws. Hey, let me talk. All right.
I'm just laughing at Connor going, I remember there were a big ship.
No, I remember there being a really big ship and them going up onto it because obviously Red Hood's like, oh wait, hang on, there's a ship.
And you got to see this cool leader side of Corey that up until that point in the comic, it was almost like I'm gonna give Abdel benefit of the doubt because he caught so much flack for kind of using her as a sex object, to where he had this plan to where on Earth she doesn't know what to do, but as soon as you put her in that leadership position, like it just clicks, and she ends up taking the ship back to Tamaran and defeating her sister, and then kind of freeing everybody and being like, look, you don't need a monarchy. I'm gonna go. I trust in you. So I don't know if that's still what it is now, but
I would assume that's the most recent version.
I guess technically it's kind of like how a lot of the Rebirth stuff. It's like, okay, technically we're still in the continuity of New 52, even though we'd like to forget some of the stuff.
Yeah, I think we have to go with the New 52 versions until we're told otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So, and if that's the case, then that happened afterwards. So that's why she's never been able to go back. Like just Tamaran went missing, But no, it's very interesting that they threw that in there.
Oh.
And it's
And somewhere since that, Brainiac took it.
Exactly.
And yeah, for the record, I dig the story. And we should probably mention the, Vildox. He's like, yeah, Brainiac's whole thing was to conquer this planet. As soon as he, had you save it for him, he was going to conquer it and just send all the Titans to Earth.
Yeah. Anyways.
So before, and they've got him tied up. In fact, Lobo's literally, dragging him with a chain at one point. Yeah. So they still got him locked up with them, but we'll see how that maps out. So obviously everyone's racing back to Earth. I still enjoyed the story of the issue. It's just the art was a bit
real rough.
Bit on the rough side. Yeah. But hey, so we will move on. On.
We're not rating this week.
Oh, ratings. Yes.
Damn it.
It's new, Connor. I'm still remembering. New ratings. Yes,
Ratings.
ratings.
You're the kid that was like, "Hey, what about the homework tonight?"
No, this is not homework.
No. I like ratings things.
I know you do.
Now, I don't think you should always do this, but I think in cases like this, I would accept a separate art rating from.
Oh no, that's bollocks. It's one product.
I'm just saying.
No, that is absolute bollocks. It's one product. It's one issue.
No, you give an overall rating, but I'm saying if you want to break it down and say what you think the art is and how it drags it down, you're welcome to do so. I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying you're welcome to do so.
So, like for me, I was really high on the last one. Right? I think I gave it an 8.5 or 9. This is a 7 because I really enjoyed the story, but the art knocks it down because it's inconsistent. If it was all toe, it would just be a step below the last one, but this.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with the 7, Matt. I agree with that. The art drags it down to the 7.
Stop
lining up. But what I'm saying is, though, story alone, it would probably be like an 8.5.
No. But what I'm saying is, this is a bollocks thing. You can't go, that film is a 6, but the cinematography, that's a 9. You don't do that.
Yo, that's what Blade Runner 2049 was. Easily a 6, but the cinematography and look make it a 9.
Right, so you go with the overall package. You don't.
That's a standing ovation.
One score at the end.
Right. I'm just going to tell everybody, that's not a good movie. It looks good, but the movie itself is not good.
Oh, I love it. But yeah.
Of course you do. You like bad things. You read Red Hood.
I don't think it's a bad movie, but I don't think it's as great as a lot of people make it out to be. Anyway.
I give it a 6, this issue.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I think the art's like a 5 and that like drags it down. I was just going to say, right? Just for conversation's sake. These aren't official numbers. My score's a 7, right? Connor, you happy? Score's a 7.
Yeah.
Moving on to Detective Comics 981. James Tynion IV, Eddie Barrows back on the art for this final issue of the run. And we beat OMAC. Tim kind of breaks out of it because Steph gives him a pep talk. And he's like, hey, you can do this, Tim. I've given you control back.
Yeah.
And he does. And then we have lots of fun epilogues. Setting up all the characters.
So usually I have an issue when you come in and you do an arc and then you kind of just reset the pieces and it's almost like you could remove your arc. I'm glad Tynion does kind of both, right? Where he leaves threads hanging for someone to pick up on or even himself. But other ones like Batwoman, her entire arc in this is back to exactly where it started. Like there's no colony. She's back working with her dad just as Batwoman. So
no, it's true because you do have the two different schools of thought from a lot of comics writers as to whether or not they put the toys back in the box and leave it how they found it for someone else to have a go, or if they here's something. Yeah, your turn now.
I think that the neat trick is to it though is that because she lost like her Bat membership, if you will, and she regains it and like sort of is more reinvigorated with it. Because not on top of that, she's also back with her dad. This is even like back to the start of this run in a lot of ways. Yeah. She's back to her dad working with her as Batwoman.
So usually I don't like the going into the box again because I feel like these are serialized stories that build as you go, and like part of the challenge of taking a run over is how am I going to deal with that? That's just how I view it. Here though, I loved exactly where it left off every single character.
Yeah, I did as well. And to be fair, Batwoman's I think it's the only one where you can say that she's outright kind of back to square one.
Give or take where she was. Yeah.
Everyone
else has had growth.
Not emotionally, but just in terms of like the next person to go write Batwoman can start off as this is classic Batwoman with her father, and like we can do that. But I love where Cass ends up. Cass So obviously she ends up at the Thompsons clinic and like Harper Rose like, hey, come work with us, and Leslie's like, hey, like we'll get you enrolled in school and stuff, but someone's volunteered to help you, and I'm like, oh, who's this? Who's this?
Yeah?
And she opens the door. I'm like, holy shit, it's Babs. Babs and Cass working together. She's helping her. This is just a solo run. It was great.
I smiled at that. I was like, this is awesome. Like, yay, Babs.
And then she starts doing Shakespeare.
And she starts doing Shakespeare.
And then I was like, oh no, Clayface. And then we get to my holy shit moment. To where Clayface ain't gone.
Yeah, Clayface leaves a note for her. He's got a tear in his eye. He's off with Victoria. Victoria.
Good...
I almost said Victober there. Victoria October. You know, her.
It's such a good lead-in, though, isn't it? The Shakespeare that was the thing that really highlighted their relationship.
Yeah, their unifying thing. And then he's just like, no, she's better off right now.
I've never been so happy to see someone recite Shakespeare in all my life.
Oh, man.
Warms my heart.
I came into this run going, oh, yes, Clayface is a cool character. Never did I think that he'd become one of my favorite Bat characters. Like,
it just on Cass as well. Like back to when they're fighting, and Steph's like, oh, I need to keep hacking, OMAC and stuff. And Cass like, don't worry, no one's getting to you. And she starts holding off like waves of OMAC soldiers. And then she starts fighting alongside Batman. And he's like, hey, I was trying to keep this fight away from you. And she's like, no, I'm a bat. I belong in this fight. And then he smiles. And I'm like, damn, yes. Like,
and then smiling's weird.
If nothing else, as Tim points out later, if nothing else, Cass is getting a bat on her chest next time she's popping up somewhere, right?
Whatever name they come up with, I hope it's better than Orphan, because Orphan's fine, but she's not an orphan anymore. She has a family.
Yeah.
Like
it worked for where she was in that story. The Batman Eternal, Batman and Robin Eternal, whichever one it was that she was in.
Yeah.
So it really worked for that, and and it's worked for most of this run because this run has been about her getting a family, right? She's still been an orphan for most of it. So, but going forward, that can only last so. Yeah.
So whatever, like if they make her a Black Bat, whatever, like cool.
Yeah, Black Bat's fine. Whatever.
But yeah.
Honestly though, like if they just go with the idea of like, you know what, kind of like how those two Flashes, we can have more than one Batgirl. It's fine.
Pete, you want 3 Batgirls?
I do want 3 Batgirls. You know I want 3 Batgirls, Matt. Don't joke about this.
Probably not
what if Tinian does a Batgirls Eternal, and it's just the 3 of them?
I'd be down. Do you know
what? 40-issue weekly.
Yeah.
I mean, you say it's not going to happen. I actually don't think that's entire. I think there's a reasonable chance at some point we'll get some variation of that idea.
Well, I forgot Tinian until he posted that open letter.
The big blog post.
Tim Drake.
Yeah, and Tumblr.
Yeah. And he talked about how I forgot he worked on both Eternal series. Now it makes me want to go back and read them because I quit Eternal because the art was so inconsistent.
Yeah, and it wasn't just him; he was swapping around with 3 other writers. So
that's what is going to happen in a weekly series.
Yeah,
they can't all be 52.
I go back and read it just to see, because he had such an affection. Like me and him share an affection for the same era of comics because we're we're in the same age. So
yeah, it was interesting. The interesting part of that, when he got to write the book he always wanted to with Detective, and then he was told, "Yeah, you have to take Tim off the table for a year." And he's like, "Shit, what did I do with this?"
But then his editor gave him the story name, and he's like, "Oh, I can work with this."
Yeah. Interesting points to make from this. So here's one thing from that blog post, and one thing from Twitter a while back. On Twitter a while back, I'm sure we brought this up on the show when he said this, but he was helping develop a book for 2 of the characters from his Detective Comics run that was going to happen later. And at the time he said he wouldn't say which 2. Based on what he says in this, and based on what's in the issue as well, and based on what he said in this post, he says in the post that he's no longer going to be writing Tim Drake and he's excited to read it as a fan again. But, I mean, do we agree that Tim and Steph seem to be the 2 that would most likely to get their own book of some kind coming out of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's not Tinian doing it, because he's doing Odyssey, whoever's writing it, he set up.
Dark. He's doing Dark now.
Dark. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Job Williamson's doing
Williamson's
Odyssey.
doing it.
Same difference, but I know what you meant. Yeah.
Writers. Yeah. But yeah, he left a clean place for them to jump on.
Yeah.
And whatever book that is, I will be on from day one.
And it's Tim. He's saying he's going off to college, and Bruce is going to know he's not, because he's Batman, and he's
he says immediately, it's like Bruce knows I'm not.
Yeah.
And then I love that we cut to Bruce and Alfred talking.
Yeah. And Batman's like, it's fine, I trust him. He'll come and see me when
wherever he's at.
Shut down the tracer. We don't need to track him.
But here's the important part.
He wants us, he'll let us know.
They're going off to investigate different timelines because they've seen a lot of timelines. That's what they're going to look into.
Yeah.
So, in my dream Batgirl scenario, it starts off with Babs and Cass, and then Steph comes back from this sometime in the middle of the run and joins as the third one. That's my dream scenario.
I want Steph and Tim with Rip Hunter, throw in another character, and they're doing exile stuff, visiting these other realities, and that's how you get Connor Kent back.
It wouldn't shock me if we get that, Matt. Like now, admittedly, I see it as more of a mini series than I do an ongoing. But I
don't care.
Yeah, but I see it happening. This is clearly setting something up, and based on again what he wrote in his post, he said that there was one character who didn't get to finish the arc with, and he said it's a female character. I would guess Cass.
See, I think probably more likely Steph, because I think Cass had an arc, right? She grew to have a family. She grew to have Clayface. Steph
That's fair.
Kind of got off when Tim got taken off the board. Steph did as well for a lot of the book.
Which makes me question, though, if like someone's doing this Steph Tim book, but then because Tynion says he's going to get back to it. He says he has to work on. It was specifically doing the Legion of Doom stuff for Justice League. He says he has to get that out of the way before he can start thinking about writing another book on top of Dark. But he's going to get to it. It's going to happen.
And also, Steph realized that she doesn't have to work the Bat. Like, it's fine. Like, she knows her place with Batman. Like, they're never going to agree on how to do things, and that's okay.
I can still see the end of the arc being her choosing to do it anyway, though. She doesn't need to.
Well, yeah,
but she chooses to.
And so that's the arc. I feel like that's where it was going, where she was ruining his stuff. That's what led to Anarchy, and then he finished this run up and went, "Oh crap, that's not exactly where I wanted to put her with Bruce." But he kind of wrapped it up as quick as he could. But
yeah, so maybe we'll get a Steph mini or ongoing from Tynion in a year's time.
The other option is it could be Batwoman, given that we spoke about how she's kind of in the same place. Everyone else got their arc, got to move on, whereas she didn't. So maybe that's what he
also brought up the first arc in Batwoman, which we can agree is, besides the art, probably the strongest that book had been. So, and did he fully write that or co-write that?
He co-wrote that, yeah.
He co-wrote the first arc, yeah.
So I feel like a lot of what he wanted to do was in there with Batwoman, which he said was another character that was from when he was reading 52 as a fan.
And hey,
he really loved that story.
This will be no shock to anyone, but if it is Steph and we're getting a Steph Tim book and a Steph book, I'm okay with it. I'll take
me too.
2 Steph books.
That's Steph, and the fact that we learned that this OMAC, like, it was a future that could happen, but not. So now you're playing with hyper time.
Oh yeah, because we see, of course, that Kate killing Bruce wasn't what we thought it was. Like Bruce, was willing. He asked asked for it to happen.
It was very much a Harry Potter situation with Snape, right? Like we didn't quite understand at the time, but when all was revealed, it was like, oh well, this was the only option.
Yeah,
you know.
And I think it's interesting on that there, where in that future, the whole realization for Bruce is there doesn't always have to be a Batman.
Right.
Right, we can do something else, and I think that's given that the whole point. This arc is Batman Eternal. Yeah, the idea of there must always be a Batman to have that legacy.
Well, and he created Brother Eye for that, and then Brother Eye goes full on Skynet and wants to maintain itself. So maybe part of that was Brother Eye becoming Batman.
What I think is particularly interesting after, Bruce knows about this revelation, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the end, Alfred's like, "Oh, come on, no, don't tell me next time you're starting an entire school for young vigilantes." And he's like, "No, not yet." And it's a hint as maybe one day.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a hint to this Outsider stuff coming up. Which, on that subject, by the way, someone asked Brian Hill on Twitter, is like, "Hey, when are you going to just admit this is leading to an Outsiders book after your detective arc?" And he just said, this was his response: "The Hill administration has no comment on this at this time."
I think that's a great response to that is just go in about 3 months when it solicits time.
Well, see, that's what I always liked about Batman Inc. was that Bruce wasn't necessarily in the suit all the time, right? He got to play quarterback from the sideline and be like, "Hey, go here and go here," and I could be the face of this as Bruce Wayne. It was very Iron Man-esque when people thought that Iron Man was working for Stark, and they weren't one and the same. So I kind of like that idea of that in the future. That's where this goes. Like he has his team of people, but he doesn't need to be there.
Well, it's interesting because the Batman solicits for August, one of them mentioned that he might be wanting to take a break from being Batman. So we might be getting a story with him hanging up the cape for a while. Probably just an arc. But,
what if it's because he knocks up Selena on their honeymoon? Like, and he's just like, yeah, I got to do dad time. Like, look at this little monster that wasn't raised with me, with Damien. Like, I got to do this. I got to do this one right. Like.
I want Selena giving Damien into trouble now after they're married. Like, I am your stepmother. You will do as I tell you, young man.
I think she'd be cool stepmom. I think she's the one that's like, yeah, sure, come in, be safe. Like, just don't
have a beer.
Yeah, sure. But I feel like she's because
he drives.
She's from
Why not?
Other side, yeah. She's from the
but don't give him the beer when he's driving, Connor. Come on now, how irresponsible are you?
Yeah, right.
I'm not saying both. Just saying.
But just like, yeah, just as long as it's here, like, you're fine. I want to know what's going on. We won't tell your dad.
Yeah, it just and on the possibility spent out of this, I want to say I'm really happy. It feels, at least with Cass, Steph, and Tim, it feels like no, they're not being written out so we're not going to see them anymore. It feels like they're all setting up stuff for them for the future. I mean, and I don't mind that if Cass isn't one of the ones getting her own book, because we already know that she's going to be involved in this outsider stuff. She's going to be somewhere. She's going to be important somewhere else. And the only thing I would add is that I do hope that Steph is not always tied to Tim. Because I like them as a pair, don't get me wrong, but I would hope that eventually Steph gets a little bit of solo limelight.
That was great about the Brian Q. Miller run. It's like, Tim would pop in, but it wasn't always defined by her relationship. And he had talked about that too, if I remember right. Like, he wanted to go beyond Steph as Tim's girlfriend. Like, she has somewhere to stand out besides that.
Because I mean, I've loved her in this detective run, but she's always been tied to Tim's story. Like, she left when Tim disappeared.
Alternatively, I'd like a Tim solo, but without Steph. So
Yeah.
Well, that's fine as long as I get my Steph solo book as well. I will grant you that.
If he's not pining over Steph, he needs to be pining over Connor. That's one or the other.
I'm just saying, if I have to pick between the two books, I'm taking a Tim book.
No, I'm taking a Steph book. I'm sorry.
Me too. I like Tim, but
yes,
he's the best Robin. But
Matt, I'm going to forgive you for your colluding on Twitter this week. I'm feeling generous now.
I'm pro waffles here. Like, I saw that run in my closet over here that I want to read when I have time. Like, I dug it out specifically to read 2 years ago. Yeah,
by the way, if we ever get if it's not a triple Batgirl book with Babs and it's just like Cass and Steph, I will happily call it Waffle Queen and Silent Night.
God, that's a terrible title.
It's amazing.
You've got atrocious book names this week.
What was wrong with Batgirls?
Well, that one's acceptable. It was your Speed Force one that was shite.
Speed Force is a perfectly good name for a Flash book.
It's shite.
Speed Force 5.
God damn it. Anyway, that's Detective. I guess we'll move on. But Teenage Drum is fantastic. We're sad to see it go.
Yep.
So
are we gonna rate right now?
Yes, we can read it right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
What do you want about? We'll rate it. Go on.
Oh, this was a 9.5. Just
oofed. Yeah, right up there.
Level.
I want to go as high as a 9.5. It's definitely a 9. I'm definitely in 9 territory. Yeah, screw it, 9.5. I'm with Matt. 9.5. Connor.
I went with an 8.5 because the back half of the book is fantastic. The first half is okay. It's just a fight sequence. There's a few good moments here or there, but it's fine.
I left this eternally happy. So we'll move on. And the immortal words of Matt in that break between the cuts, let's get this shit out of the way. Wonder Woman number 47 is up next. James Robinson writing, Stephen Segovia on the art. And the art's not bad, Stephen Segovia's pretty good.
No, art's probably the best part of this book.
Yeah. I mean, I like Supergirl being around. The entire fight felt a bit pointless at the end of it, but...
This whole Dark Gods thing is pretty pointless when it's all said and done.
I mean, I'll tell you the worst part of the book. Now, I was really down, because I was like, the fight with Supergirl felt pointless, right? But it was fun to look at, it was pretty. They're fighting each other, heat vision, she's like missing her and hitting a building, so clearly something's wrong. She's not acting normal.
Right.
And then it cuts to like a few pages of Jason, like talking. Who is it? The Fates.
The Fates, which I did like that because you see the different versions. So you have the Norns from Norse mythology. It looks like you have Japanese versions, who I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, because the
Is
joke.
it really playing with mythology? Don't do this to me.
Because Jason,
don't.
Because Jason's like, hey, you weren't what I was expecting. Because they're all like just sort of normal, like not normal 21st century women.
A blonde, brunette, and a redhead, like they're.
And then like, oh, did you expect it to look like this? And they sort of changed through different versions.
Yeah. The one on the bottom looks super familiar. I don't know if they're just supposed to be witches. Like
I thought they looked like just classic witches in that panel.
Yeah. So.
Because it was kind of like
looks like Sabrina.
Yeah, because one's a Sabrina, one's like an old like, classic, old witch with the hat, and then one's like the fat witch.
Yeah. So that was cool. But I don't care about what they're talking about.
Yeah, them talking for several pages, like, oh, that armor was meant for Wonder Woman, but now it's bonded to you, so you're stuck with it. But honestly, the thing I hated the most about this book is at the end of the book, the dark gods show up, and they're kind of like it's almost like tombs they're in, right? They're not moving it. There's big rock things.
Yeah, big sarcophagus.
Essentially, yeah. I was thinking they're kind of like just to go with a Marvel thing here. It's almost like when the Inhumans go through Terrigenesis. They're in like a cocoon, a stone cocoon.
A little bit.
But so the Wonder Woman and Jason are side by side in the sky. They're going to take them on, and then out of nowhere, Star Sapphires show up and kidnap Wonder Woman. We need your help, Wonder Woman. And then it says, to find out what Wonder Woman's needed for with Star Sapphires, check out her annual later this month. And then in Wonder Woman 48, see how Jason fares on his own.
I have a question. On a scale to 1 to 10, how much are you regretting saying you'll stick with this, even that the end was in sight?
10! 11!
15. I love Supergirl. We all know this, right? Like,
yeah, of course you do.
All right. So she's on the cover. It's great. Like the Jenny Frison cover. They're sharing ice cream. But you're gonna beat me into a false sense of security. Cool.
Yeah.
And
it's a shame because
art looks good. Like he draws it good.
Here's the question:
Supergirl,
are you getting to issue 48?
Yes. I can't not now because it's stupid. Like I don't like that it's undercutting Rucka's entire thing about the gods. Like they just kind of like they'll show up in animal form, right? Them abducting Jason and then giving him this armor doesn't line up with what they said here that it was meant for Diana, but you ended up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if it gives her the powers of the Pantheon, then why didn't it doesn't gel with them not getting involved. Like if they didn't get involved when Ares was at stake of him being released during Rucka's run, but they're going to get involved with the Dark Gods.
Well, the Dark Gods are worse though, man. The Dark Gods are up in the stakes.
Yeah, see, but I guess this is just the difference between Rucka and Robinson as writers. Is I bought Ares being a massive threat. I don't with these Dark Gods.
That's a fair critique, but I think that's the point. I think you're supposed to see them as a bigger threat because of the intervention. But I mean,
But even then, we had Zeus interacting, in that first arc.
I think it's a bit weird because obviously Rucka's take on it is the most recent one, but it's not like in Azzarello's stuff, the gods were doing all sorts.
But see, I almost feel that's an Elseworlds at this point, just because of how the gods were imagined and the
Hell, it felt like an Elseworlds at the time. It never felt in continuity.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No. And crossing him over with the new gods and all that fun stuff, and so, but yeah, and just Jason, and it wasn't meant for you. Well, it fits. Well, I guess it's yours now.
He's so bland.
I hope the Dark Gods mutilate him.
Matt said he's sticking around for 48, the solo Jason issue. Are you doing it as well? You sticking with him?
I can't let him do it alone.
Well, I appreciate that, but had you not done it, it would make for great because it would just be me yelling, probably. So, and it kills me because I tend to like most of Robinson's stuff that I've read. So, like his Starman's supposed to be an all-time great. I still haven't read it, but
Most of the time I quite like him. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Robinson's not a bad writer. He's just
No,
Oh.
but I'm having flashbacks to not enjoying Superman and Teen Titans under Lobdell, and it makes me angry because I've grown to love Wonder Woman. Like, and I feel like her biggest enemy isn't a comic books enemy; it's an inconsistency. Because this has happened since I've been reading comics since 2004, like heavy reading comics. Her runs have gone up and down. For every Rucka, you end up with Will Pfeiffer doing Amazon's Attack, and then her being part of a government strike team as Diana Prince with no powers, to back to the Azarello stuff.
It does feel like they don't know, consistently
Ever.
what to do with her, right?
But then you look at Rucka, and his run's consistent from his late, late 90s, early 2000s to his rebirth. It's almost the same series, just
Yeah.
picking up on threads.
I'm hopeful that the run after Orlando's like short arc is.
I like how we're not even hoping for anything from Orlando.
I mean, it may be fine, but you know, we have reasons not to be super excited about that. I'm just hoping because this run just feels like it's killing time until the next big run, right? It just feels like it's just spinning its wheels because there has to be a Wonder Woman book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember there was a time we wanted 2 Wonder Woman books? And now we're killing time between issues of Wonder Woman. Like, it's sad. Sad state of affairs.
Yes, so that's the affairs.
This is why we don't have 2, because clearly they don't have
It's
the people there.
But I feel just like keep it consistent. Like if Rucka's whole thing, like from Rebirth, was this is the new status quo of the gods, don't let Robinson come in and bring in Zeus 4 issues in. You know, like
I'm torn on that as an editor because I like it when the gods are interacting and playing with that mythology, and it's a separate run, so I can deal with it being just okay. You do your thing, I'll do mine. The problem is this was just shit. That's the problem.
I don't know. Yes, yeah. Because that was my biggest problem with Superman and the New 52. It was so inconsistent. You know, like
Yeah, but
between the books.
well, the thing is here, if this run had been good, I don't think you'd be complaining about the way that they're using the gods. I think you'd be fine to just go with it if the writing and the story.
Well, yeah, of course.
was good to
But
back it.
But even then, we get introduced to Hercules, and that was awesome. And
Yeah,
then
well-
you kill him at the end of those 4 pages, and it's so there's good stuff there.
Well,
Like, you could have
here's the thing.
done the same thing.
Do you know what would fix all of this?
Not
If
having
Jason had
in
a
it,
cat-
I agree.
If Jason actually had, a character, that would maybe help a little bit.
Do you know what else would help? A death.
A death would, which is totally happening. Issue 50, I will bet you money Jason is dying.
Yeah, don't forget you got double length for issue 50.
Yeah. Screw you.
I meant that as a threat.
Do you know what else is double length, Connor? Red Hood number 25.
So I almost feel like they just should have kept him as a bad guy when he had his turn with I always forget her name with Grail. Like, keep him a bad guy, and then now he has this dark god armor. He doesn't know what to do because he's not necessarily about the dark gods, but he wants to spite Wonder Woman. Like, that's at least interesting. It might not be good, but it's something.
Yeah,
And
it
now
was a
he's-
boring character when he turned out when we had the reveal
Yeah.
that he was evil.
Yeah,
But at least stick with it and do something with that, right?
yeah. So,
Hey ho, let's move on to more interesting things, shall we?
well, we're gonna rate it, Pete. Rate it.
Quite right, Matt. Quite right. Ratings. Connor, guess what your rating would be for?
I mean, how nice was the art?
That was pretty nice. That was good. That was solid.
Most of my points, I'm gonna give this a 5.5 because most of it comes from the art, though. Because I do enjoy Segovia. Any book that he's popped up in, it the art always looks beautiful. And that fight scene, even though it's kind of all over the place, I enjoyed reading it because it's very kinetic.
Mm-hmm.
You're following them through the cityscape as they're fighting.
And it's
That was
all in the
great.
art. The art is what makes that
It
scene
is.
great. So
I'd assume I'd give it about a 5 then. The art pulling it up.
Yep.
no, that sounds about right. Yeah, I'll give it a 5. And again, it's the art pulling it up. If the art was mediocre as well, it'd be like a 3 or
Be
something.
lower.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, so we'll move on to the Flash number 47, part 1 of Flash War.
Finally. We've been waiting for this for so long.
I know it is time, and I don't think it disappointed. I think it's hitting all the
Nope.
notes that I wanted to hit.
Yep.
I will say Williamson did say this week actually, and I think this is worth mentioning because obviously this is teasing a lot of big things, especially at the end of this issue. Williamson did say this is actually just the start of like a 2-year plan for not only Flash but things that are going to like be affected by this. And
He's going for 100.
he is going for 100. Like Tom King, he's going for it. And he was saying that not everything that's teased isn't going to be resolved or dealt with by the end of Flash War. That is even not even going to be close to what's happening.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. But he said that everything that's brought up is going to be addressed somewhere along the way.
I feel like he's talking to me because how much I complained about the lack of certain characters.
Yeah.
And he keeps teasing them, and I keep getting my hopes up.
Because every so often I'll see someone say, "Oh, this better have happened by the end of Flash War. This character better be back." I'm like, I don't think it's going to be back by the end of Flash War, but
No,
we're getting there.
Just like with Wally, they've slowly introduced him back, and it all makes sense because there's a line of dialogue from the Renegades when it comes to Wally, and it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like he's. And also, I've been rereading the Johns run. I just finished the big thick book 1 of his that ends with Iron Heights, and you could tell that Williamson had read that entire run before starting because there's a lot of similarities with the tone and even some of the
and Howard Porter on the art.
Arts.
Howard Porter on the art. He did some of the art in that run. So
yep. So still not Scott Collins. I think he's still my favorite Flash artist.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting, and I think we start with a little sort of glimpse of the future where Barry and Wally are at each other's stores, and it seems like Wally wants the Flashpoint to try and save his kids, seemingly, and Barry's like, "Hey, Wally, seriously, last time I did that, I created the goddamn New 52. You don't want to do that, buddy. You really don't want to do
that, dude."
I love how it was only 47 minutes 18 seconds
later. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's not. Well, we've got time travel involved, so that's probably why.
Yeah, but it plays like it's like 2 weeks later is the usual sort of thing I'd expect from that. But it's like, 47 minutes earlier.
Yeah, it's the Flash.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we see that Barry and Wally are already kind of having like a clash of styles. Like Wally's not necessarily following Barry's plans. There's still Kevin in a good place, but there's this kind of like just work issues kind of bubbling underneath. With them, because they were handling the tidal wave differently and stuff, and they handle it very differently when they did the Renegade shop. Although before we get to that, Wally does have we find it later it's called a time seizure, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Where we see the '90s Grant Morrison Justice League. Kyle's in his glorious crab mask and all its beautiful greenness.
I do not understand your affection for that stupid mask.
That crab mask is terrible. I hate it.
Freaking best.
Plus the "You're no Barry Allen" line from that, which I feel I just read in that arc. So there's all that stuff, but the time seizure, it all makes sense because he's displaced, and this plays into also what Tim and Steph are going to be looking into, like what has gone on in the time stream that we have this future where things should happen, but they're not.
It wouldn't even shock me if Wally ends up in that book with them.
Well, maybe.
Please.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not predicting it, but it wouldn't shock me. It would make sense.
All my favorite 2000s characters in one book. Please.
I don't say does that
in there too.
Does that upset some people as to kind of just throwing him back into his own corner of the DCU and not have it interact?
No, because
not if he's investigating the timeline stuff. I don't think it does.
Because if he's trying to get back to a past that was his and not Barry's, then it makes sense.
And they all have that in common. They're all looking for this past that made them better. They're all looking for this history. Yeah. We're upset they all lost their history. So them being united is this odd combination of characters that we're all happy to have back from Rebirth. It kind of works thematically.
Yeah. Tim, because even Tinian brought that up. Like, he got very upset in the New 52 about Tim's new origin, and he was given an opportunity to write Tim, and Snyder had to reel him in from adding little things about his proper origin.
Yeah.
So which I thought was funny, because he's one of us that was like, I can fix this. And Snyder's like, I understand why you're upset, but that's not the focus right now. So, but I feel like Williamson's getting to do that now with Wally, and it's like, well, there's all these people that loved Wally, and it's been, wiped out. But let's show them that no, it still exists, because as we saw in the last issue, he was in the Flash Museum, right? That's not there.
Yeah.
So,
it's fantastic. So the Renegade Shop, the 25th Century Reverse Flash Task Force is the page
That is
calls.
a mouthful. I'm glad we've got the Renegades to cut all of the short.
Yeah, so we got Commander Cold, we got Golden Guardian, we got Weather Warlock, Heat Stroke, and Mirror Monarch II, which
I love the two.
yeah. I'm glad they're all there in this page for me, because obviously I remember Commander Cold. Well, that was a weird slip, but the rest of them, like, okay, I know there's a golden one, I know there's a weather one, I know there's a heat one.
Well, they're just the rogues with I would say more heroic sounding names.
Sure. What I'm saying is that as I was reading this later and I got past this, or earlier when I got this past, I'm not time traveling, I promise. When I got past this page, like, I kept trying to think, okay, what was that version of that name again that they're using? Because it's so similar to one that I know.
You are just thinking, oh, that's Cold, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the heat one.
That's Weather Wizard, but it's not Wizard, it's Warlock. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Wally's basically, no, screw this, I'm taking it, because they want Iris to answer for her crimes of killing Thawne.
Yeah, well, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
She did, and it also goes back to how Wally and Barry have dealt with the rogues. Is in Johns's, Wally brings up that Barry kind of ended up making friends with them. Like, they had this
quite a lot.
What's that?
He really tolerates them, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And he's just kind of like, I'm different. These are bad guys. I don't have that connection, and I'll take Snart down. I don't give him the benefit of the doubt. And that's exactly what Wally does here, going like, no, they're just like rogues. I'm not trusting them. They're from the future. Who knows who they are?
Yeah.
Whereas Barry's like, well, let's wait and see. And it's very Barry and Wally and their differences as Flash.
Yeah, and Wally just grabs Iris and bolts. He's like, you know what, I'm not losing you again. And Iris is like, no, Wally, we don't run from things. And I'm like, Iris, your entire family are Flashies. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. The words that are coming out of your mouth. And I know what she means. I'm joking, right?
I think the point is she says we don't run from a fight. Flashes run towards the fight.
Which is fine. I'm cracking my joke because it really made me laugh. I'm like, come on.
But then Golden Guardian, right?
Yeah.
She's got a Sinestro ring.
Yeah. I got to the bottom of that page and she's like, and blackest day and brightest night, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I turned the page and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
She's got the Daniel West Reverse Flash. She's got Thawne. She's got
Zoom.
Zoom too.
She's got all three of the Reverse Flashes essentially.
I love how that because obviously she's a yellow lantern, but obviously a Reverse Flash is the yellow color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's neat, but quite rightly they point out, hey, you're supposed to be the good guys, but you're like Yellow Lantern. That makes it kind of hard to trust you.
Yeah.
Because Sinestro Corps.
I think they're a bit out of touch with what's been going on at the moment, obviously.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Makes sense.
Hal's not filled them in that. Yeah, we kind of had a bit of an alliance with the Yellows, and I think things are atrocious.
Fear can be used. Fear can be used in an appropriate way. Batman exists, for example.
Right, because the Yellows are in a reasonable place. They don't like the Greens, but they're not evil right now.
Yeah, they're not space terrorists anymore. Like, you don't have Romat Rue. That was his name, right?
Yeah.
That was Zidarian that Tomar killed.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Like, you don't have them so much anymore in the core. You have these guys that are, like, rugged, like, special forces types now.
Yeah, they're kind of doing the right thing. A bit off the books, but they're not evil.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows what it's like in the 25th century.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is a whole, time period that we don't know about.
They could be the predominant Lantern Corps by that point, for all we know. Yeah, but like in that fight scene, Barry and Wally are still arguing, and he's like, what? Wally tells Barry, what, so I can be like you? And Barry, as a true mentor, goes, no, so you can be better than me. And I just like, oh my god, and then Wally's got to pop off. And
I already am.
Yeah. Wally's my Flash. He's my favorite Flash by far.
But he's a little bit of a dick in that panel. That comeback's a bit much. And Joe, I love about it though. I love the idea that he's having like time bleeding in from the real timeline, and I'm thinking, he's remembering him being a Flash and actually accomplishing a lot as the Flash. So in a way, he was better than Barry. So he's kind of like it's a place of truth.
He never broke the time stream, and all the time travel he He never broke the time chain trying to save his mom.
Also true. Also true. So Wally ends up getting another time seizure in the fight, and Commander Cold explains what's happening. He's like, "Hey, Iris, if you come and just answer our questions, we can help him out. We can actually help fix him." So that's interesting. So they kind of agree, and Wally's against it, but he kind of eventually agrees, and we actually get a recreation of the panel from Rebirth #1 where Barry grabs his arm. And okay, you know what? I'll follow you. If you want to do this, okay, fine. I'll trust you. So they all go together. Commander Cold initiates his time device, and they all flash to the future. However, when they arrive in the future in the 25th century at the wherever they go,
temporal courts.
There you go, temporal court. Thank you. Wally's missing. Original Wally's missing, and they're like, "Hey, where's Wally?" And Commander Cold's like, someone pulled him out. Someone locked onto him and pulled him out. Someone was targeting him, and he's like, "Wait, this was a trap for Wally." And he's kind of pissed. And then we see where Wally went. Wally was, of course, nabbed by Zoom, and he's in the destroyed Flash Museum. He's seeing holograms of various speedsters, Max Mercury, Bart Allen. He sees a picture of him and his wife with his babies, and then the final page, Zoom's like, "Hey, I'm Hunter Zolomon. You can call me Zoom, and I will help you save your children." And behind them, you see the adult costumes for Jai West and Iris West too.
Yeah, the orange and yellow costumes.
Yeah.
So who else?
Here's the thing.
To the end of this.
Zoom helping Wally.
Well, not even just helping Wally, helping him saving his children who he killed. Yeah, he killed them in the womb in Jeff Johns' run.
I assume this is him being dark as shit. Save them so that he can take them away again.
Oh, probably.
I don't know. I feel Zoom in this is gonna prove that he's the better Reverse Flash, because he's actually gonna honor. No, he's actually gonna honor what Thawne was all about at the beginning, making the Flash better.
But then again,
if this means that it's gonna take out Barry, he's gonna make Flash better or Wally better.
That said, though, we've heard his intentions. Though he's intended to put them at war, so this could just be to get him to turn on Barry. This might just be the carrot to make him do what he wants.
Yeah, it could
exactly.
Be,
rather than actually wanting to bring the kids back.
Don't also like Jesse Quick was also in the Flash Museum there.
You're right. There's a bust of her.
There's a bust of her, and so just the fact that you kind of get the feeling there's these other speedsters, because we've already seen Jay in the button.
And to be
bust out of the speedsters.
He actually says, Zoom outright says, all the speedsters you knew are all trapped in the Speed Force. They're all in there.
Yeah. So Bart's there, Jay's there, Max is there, the West Twins, you name it. Also, there was a hint of, is there also a villain Kid Flash? And then I thought, oh, this means Inertia's at play then. Because why do you have young Wally bring this up for that? He's a speedster. He's going to be there.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning what Matt's referring to earlier in the book. When he learns about there being multiple Reverse Flash, he's like, hey, do I have a Reverse Flash too? And obviously when Guardian makes the yellow constructs, they treat it as, oh no, Daniel West is your Reverse Flash.
It's his Reverse Flash.
But it could be a foreshadowing to be, there's going to be an evil Kid Flash at some point.
Yeah, so people that don't know, Inertia was a clone of Bart, except because Bart is half Thawne, half Alan.
Yeah,
right?
was that in the Impulse run, or was that in Mark Waid's Flash? What was that?
He started up in Wade's, is when that happened.
Okay.
But
cool.
Yeah, he's a clone. He's also from the future, but he's more Thawne than he is Alan. So he was meant to represent the dark side of that, and he comes to this time to make, to make things worse. He actually ends up killing Bart in Fastest Man Alive, which leads to the Rogue's Revenge, where they killed him. But as we know with the Flash, no one ever really stays dead, right?
Oh, of course,
Force.
yeah. What's funny, because I just started reading Wade's run for Pillbox, for Patreon, doing one issue a week, and just this week I got to the first proper issue, because the first two issues in the book were like the special, and then there was an annual that tied into Armageddon 2001, so they were kind of like, separate things. I just got to the first proper issue, and it's the start of Born to Run, the year one Wally West backstory. And in the middle of the issue, it mentions, and Iris, because he's talking about how good Iris is, and it's like, and she died 3 years ago. I'm like, oh yeah, Iris was dead at this part of continuity. I need to remember all this shit.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
everyone's always died and came back. Even Iris, she's not even a speedster.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Flash.
Yep,
So
pretty
and
much.
that's why I love it. It's always been one of my favorite neck of the DC universes. So like, and so seeing all this, I got to that last page and I legit fist pumped. Like,
Oh yeah,
holy crap!
Zoom's suit looks so freaking good because they've
Yep.
not added all the speed lines that the Barry's suits had since
Right.
New 52. I like it a lot.
Very, very of the Zoom era, like Blitz and whatnot, down to his goggles with the red pupils.
Yeah, with the big black
There they are.
triangles. Yeah,
So, oh, man, so excited where this goes.
it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Oh, it's a great issue.
It's hitting all the things we've been excited about them getting to, and it feels like it's genuinely it fits so well. It feels like it is just this continuation of Johns' classic Flash stuff. It feels like the sequel run to it, and that's super exciting. So, ratings, ratings.
He's remembered this time.
Yes, Matt, go for it.
This this is a 9.5. It would have been a 10, but there's some wonky art out of Porter in some of the panels.
This is scary how much we're lining up because I was basically going to say the same thing. 9.5, but just the art is pretty good, but just here or there, there's the odd face that's just not quite working.
Yeah, there's some of Iris that she looks cavewoman-esque,
Yeah.
and you're just like, ooh, buddy.
I do like when she jumps out in the motorbike though, and crashes into Commander Cold.
I also love
I-
how she talks about why she knows how to fix them for
Yeah.
covering the Markovian Civil War.
And I
So-
like that sequence as well, where it focuses in on all the mechanical parts as it's going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the classic West thing, is that the mechanics, because obviously.
Yeah, but I just the way it is in the art, the way it
Oh, yeah.
highlights in the boxes as we go through.
So, I agree. 9.5. I also was in love with
Connor?
this issue.
I've given it an 8, straight 8.
Of course.
I think it's great. That's
Cara's
an 8.
much stricter than we are, apparently. I can't
I
wait.
am.
I can't wait till he's raving about something and we're like, oh, it's like a 7.
Well, that's fine. Just for context, for me,
Yeah.
like a 7 is okay, that's good. An 8 is great. 9's like amazing.
Yeah, this just when I first got back into comics, it was 2 books primarily. It was the Flash and Teen Titans, and Superman, Batman also as well. So those are always my go-to, like deep down, like favorite runs. So the fact that this is referring so much to that, and it's playing with Wally in a fun way, where he's actually I'm kind of rooting against him because he's acting like a jerk.
That
Like,
kind of is.
that's
But at the same
amazing to me.
time, you understand why. You understand his motivation. If he's
Yeah.
going to learn about his kids and he wants them back, like, of course he wants to
Also,
do everything
I'm
he can
glad-
to.
I'd much rather have his problems be time seizures than a bad heart,
Oh yeah,
because
we've neatly forgotten
Because
about
of
that.
he did. So, and I'm okay with that.
Neatly,
But yeah, I just
yeah. So
Wait.
it doesn't sound like from the solicits that Wally's still in the main Flash book come August. But that's okay, because either he's going to be in his own book that's spinning out of it, or we know that Tom King's writing one of the Fallout things from this, so he could end up in Sanctuary before we get to whatever the follow-up of
Yeah.
him, within Flash terms are later on. So,
Yeah.
either way, I don't think Wally's been forgotten after this. I don't think anyone has to worry about that, is what I'm
Nope.
saying. But hey, so on to Batgirl then, number 23, Hope Larson writing, Mankayu Jung on the art. This is the final issue in Hope Larson's run, second of the 2-parter, where she's in her own head and she has to kind of figure out how to get out of it. So, how do we feel about this?
I think it's a pretty solid follow up to the last issue. It's very much kind of what we expected. It's a 2-part epilogue to the run. It's a greatest hits.
Yeah, she kind of, like, it's basically her accepting the lesson that she has to, like, give, accept that she should give herself some stuff back as well. She can't just always, obsess about being Batgirl and not, like, ignore her real life. That's kind of our
There's
lesson
balance.
here. Yeah, balance, there you go.
Yeah. I also feel like I know she's leaving to go work on other things, Hope Larson.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like this felt like a speedy wrap up because I feel like the stuff with the Falcones, I felt that's where this book was going next. So she threw it in here, like, hey, look, this is something I wanted to do, but
Maybe.
I don't have the time.
Yeah,
So
it could be.
it comes from left field, like this idea of a Falcone wanting to train as a Batgirl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes me wonder though if that's actually going to be in the next writer's arc, and she asked her to
Did he?
seed that. It was like, hey, can you,
Yeah,
Wouldn't
it
shock
could
me.
be. You know how we were talking about earlier, how some writers like to set things up and
Yeah.
leave it as a challenge almost. Like, here, you deal
Yeah.
with this.
Oh yeah.
But I
And then-
just feel like with the way that it was structured, this is well thought out. You know,
Yeah.
because you're bringing the Falcones back. You're having them. You know, she's threatening her dad. You know, and you're going to do this because I want to be different. So, but yeah, it was okay. It felt kind of messy to me. Like that stuff with Kai.
Kai was never a character we
forget
really
about
latched
him.
onto. He's kind of there to serve Barbara's plot, but it was never someone that we really seen as his own
Yeah.
character.
I
in his own
almost-
right.
But I think it's interesting that in this issue, he's not his own character. He's here just to represent
Of course, yeah.
that side of her life. And
But if that was the case, I would have rather seen Son of Penguin guy, like her idealized version of him. You know, because that caused her problems with Dick. You know, which
I
never
think
did.
the problem is this loop that she's in still has to feel real enough to keep her trapped there. You know, it's not, and nothing's an idealized version. It's slightly nicer, but it's all very similar to what
Yeah,
the reality.
But if the point of her was to go to Kai and like, you know, make out with him or whatever it was to accept that part, then you could have, you know, to break through that, she would have gone up to Son of Penguin, and you could have done the same thing.
Well, yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
the whole thing is that it was trying to trick her into thinking this was real, and that would have been too unrealistic. That she was
It's basically a Black Mercy story.
kinda, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but without
you're gonna
the
be,
Black
it
Nazi
tries
fun,
to make you just so happy, but it's so believable that it's happy.
right?
Yeah. No, I thought it was pretty good. Not amazing though. It's like obviously I don't think these last two issues stand up against the best of the run, but they're solid. They're fine. It's a fine little two-parter.
They're good. I like the meditation scene where she's trying to meditate and she can't, you know, it's interfering with what she's trying to do. That was fun. I really enjoyed Larson's voice on Barbara, so I'm gonna miss that. Not gonna miss the thought bubbles because I'm still not a fan of. I'll take narration over thought bubbles every day.
Well,
but,
they might be gone
know.
unless the next team wants to keep them because it's a
Yeah, they
style of
haven't
the book.
bothered me.
Yeah, I'm okay with them. It kind of fits the sort of bubblier personality that Barbara has.
yeah. To me, they always looked weird, you know. So
I think it's just because they're quite uncommon, right?
Yeah.
yeah, it is anymore. Like I came in reading comics when narration boxes were how you revealed the inner thoughts of a hero, not thought bubbles. So
And that's mostly still the case. It's only maybe 1 in 10, 1 in 20 books that is.
yeah, so it's
That's
jarring to
probable.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but the art, I like the art. The art looked great. That last panel
Yeah.
of her in the
Yeah.
sunlight.
But Kai Jung's fine. I think it's a little bit of a shame that it wasn't Wild Goose to round out
Yeah.
the run.
Yeah. They've already got him working on a secret project for DC though, so we'll see what that is
Oh no,
at
that's
some
fine.
point.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Flipping through this, she throws the coffee into the trash can and it scares the crap out of that cat. I didn't notice that till now.
Yeah.
That's pretty hilarious. So, but yeah,
No.
it was good.
Yeah, no, it's good. I don't think it stands up with the best of the run, but it was a solid little finale. And obviously, I hope that Larson comes back. If not in Batgirl, then something else in the future.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And we can see what she gets up to. And hopefully, we got to fill in for a month, and then with 25, we start the next proper run with Muirhead Scott, at least for an arc. I mean, it's not really confirmed that she's going to be doing like a full.
We'll
run,
wait and
but-
see. Yeah.
Right.
But we'll see how it maps out. But the annual we're getting in August is going to have James Gordon Jr. in it, and that's pretty exciting because I like him
Yes, it
a
is.
lot.
Yeah.
So,
Probably Barbara's best villain, right?
absolutely, yeah. It's so personal. He's so creepy, and it's such a down to earth villain as well that
Yeah.
you can't help but just kind of dig it. But hey, so ratings. Batgirl 23. Connor,
It's a solid 7. It's pretty good.
I concur with that. A 7 out of 10 for me, I think.
Yeah. Me too. That's like slot machine, straight sevens.
Swimming in sevens. All right. Moving on to the Terrifics number 4, Jeff Lemire and Doc Shaner. So Shaner's on the book now for a couple issues, and
Finally.
this is
Never looked better.
oh yeah, it looks fantastic. And we have the team in a big T-sphere, a ship T-sphere that is flying towards Big Little Phantom Girls.
Big Zatil.
Bigzatil, there you go. Phantom Girl's planet, and they mentioned that they've contacted Green Lantern to pass on a message. They're on their way, and they end up getting picked up by essentially like an automatic garbage ship that just sucks them in, thinking they're debris. And it leads to a giant fight with a big monster. It's very pulpy and silly and fun. I love this issue. I thought this was the best of the four so far.
This is easily the best of the four, and I think Doc Shana is a huge part of that. Because the art in the previous issues hasn't been bad. Don't get me wrong,
it's been
but
good,
it's not quite. It's not quite.
It was also an origin. It was a 3-issue origin story.
Yeah,
we got to get that out of the way.
No, it's true.
Now
but
we can tell this story.
I think the art here just fits the tone of the book.
The art's fantastic, but I don't think that's the sole reason. I actually think there's another couple of reasons. I think one is that they're already kind of established as a team, and like Terrific's trying to be nice, so you get a bit more of a sort of chemistry between the members. But on top of that, I think framing the whole issue from the perspective of Phantom Girl and her diary, and she's like the one, because she's kind of the innocent one who doesn't really understand what's going on. She's like, those two keep fighting, and she's talking about Metamorpho, and by the way, Metamorpho and Plastic Man playing rock paper scissors and actually making the shapes.
Yeah, that's
glorious.
Great. Also, Rexamorpho.
Rexamorpho.
But he kind of likes it, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But her writing this, and her perspective, and she's the kind of the innocent one and naive one, and she's kind of scared, but she sees them as friends, and then there's the sort of touching ending when she actually gets to be with her. And this is the thing, we know they can't stay because they're all tied together, but they're all willing to go for a bit just so she can have a reunion with her mother. And she finds out her dad's dead because the time difference was actually much bigger than she thought.
It was 35 years, not 10 years. So, and that's tragic. So... But yeah, just Plastic Man calling the team the Terrifics. Yeah, but I haven't cleared that with Mr. Terrific yet.
Yeah, so don't tell him I said that, though.
He's got a big enough ego as it is.
Yeah. And then just Metamorpho is such a great pulp character because he feels of a different time, especially now that Lemire's writing him, and just all the different expressions. And he is the Thing, and I have a soft spot for the Thing. He's just the Thing that can transform into different things. So.
Here's another moment I loved. I loved that Ralph had morphed into like a spacesuit, and then when the ship gets hit, he sort of like everything's shaking. And he kind of like accidentally morphs back into himself. This good stuff. So much of it. I'm all for cosmic pulpy adventures with all this team, and they got the matching outfits now as well. They're all in the white and black. It's good stuff. No, I can't praise this enough. I had so much fun with this.
Oh, this is
and also, it still reminds me of Fantastic Four, where they're the suits that are designed to keep the dark energy in check. A lot like the unstable molecules that were around for Fantastic Four.
Man, even when Plastic Man stretches to pat Phantom Girl on the shoulder, but he can't really do it. He's just pretending, and he does the little sound effect, and he's like pat pat pat.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That killed me.
Oh man, the action's great. All these random space pirates or whatever they run into are just kind of fun pulpy characters.
You had a Zidarian with an eye patch.
Yeah, Plastic Man being a giant bowling ball, bowling down.
Do you know what? It's funny because Plastic Man is kind of slightly more refined in terms of the shapes that he's taken compared to the last 3 issues. There are a lot more recognizable shapes for the most part, but oh man, they just look so good.
Yeah, it's good. No, everything. The chemistry's kind of popping. I think what works about this is that they're essentially doing a nice favor for Phantom Girl, so she feels more, a part of the team, and having her say, "Don't worry, boss, I got this," in one of the pages, talking to Terrific. It's just like no, but actually, it feels like they're forming now. It feels like they're actually building like a chemistry between them.
Cool. Matt, you're going.
Yeah, Matt's going. And it's got a touching ending, and it's a completely standalone thing as well. So we're starting the proper story next issue with whatever we're doing. I know. Solicitous for teasing, we're getting into the Tom Strong stuff in August. I imagine that monster that showed up in issue 3 in the city will be what we're maybe getting to.
Probably.
Yeah, the War Wheel stuff.
Yeah,
I do kind of hope it's just another standalone issue because we've only got one more of Doc Shana, right?
I think it probably will be.
So I hope it's just a standalone, and then, so it's not just, here's part 1 of an arc, and then part 2 someone else.
Yeah, I think this is the sort of book where it'll be a lot of standalone issues, and I think it'll work for this book.
Yeah, I agree.
But obviously there'll be some arcs. I expect the Tom Strong thing to be an arc, but...
I'm excited for that. We all know how I
Yeah.
love pulpy stuff. So
This book is pure pulp. This is pulpy sci-fi.
Oh yeah, this is easily the best issue of the four, though.
I've liked them all. I've been in love with the whole series, but I think this is the best one. So ratings. We shall rate the Terrifics. I'll get this a 9. I really like the Terrifics.
nice.
That was a fantastic issue. That's exactly what I wanted out of the book. Matt,
An 8. I don't like it as much as you do, but I still enjoy it. So,
cool. Connor.
Yeah, I give it an 8.5.
There we go. Nice. So we'll move on to Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps number 45. Robert Venditti writing, Ethan Van Sciver on the art. You guys read this. So
Yeah.
what's happening? What's going on?
More Atomic
Yeah.
Skull. That's always a good thing, I think, now.
Oh,
He's-
it's so good. The way he plays off of Hal and Hammond is really good.
Yep.
Because that's what the issue ended last time with Atomic Skull coming in and being like, okay, stop messing with my patients / prisoners.
Well, because he represents order, right? Because
Yeah.
he's working for Strikers, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rikers is the real place. Strikers is the Metropolis place. All right. So he represents just straight law and order, right? So, and that goes into the story with the Dark Stars. They're all about law and order as well, but there's no wiggle room, and so that's kind of what Hal has to impart here on Hector Hammond is like, look, Skull's just doing his job. There's no reason to be so hard on him, you know?
It's true. It's because we actually get a little prologue with one of the Lanterns. He's got a prisoner and he's escorting him back for trial, and the Dark Stars show up, and he refuses to give up the prisoner, so they kill him as well.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely vicious. Like the art, the panel of his dead body just decimated.
Yep. And Starpharaoh which that's such a great name. I want more of that villain. Like,
Yeah.
we can't, but because he's gone now. But yeah, they swarm and attack him, and it looks,
Yeah, but like the
horrendous.
Lantern has chunks out of him. He's got an arm gone, and it's like, oh yeah, he's dead. But oh man, it was fantastically gory.
Connor, his face is missing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's lower jaw's still there though.
So they're going, it's an all-out war now with the Dark Stars, which is why it's important for the 4 Earth Lanterns to get these essentially villains on their side, because the state of the universe is at hand.
Yeah, they're saying, hey, you're villains, but we don't want you dead. We're not trying to kill you.
Nope.
So so help us, and we'll only lock you up. You can escape from that.
Yep. And
Essentially.
well, and I like because it bounces over to John Stewart on Jakul with Zod, and Zod's got all his machinations. He's upset that that John brought kryptonite there, but he's like, look, we came down because you were breaking the law, but ultimately we let you slide because we're about sovereignty, right? We have no holding here. The Dark Stars don't believe in sovereignty. They see you as a Kryptonian fugitive, and they're going to bring you in life or death.
Yeah.
So think about that. Think about your family, and think about the future of Krypton.
Yeah, I realize that Zod has to hold back his family because he does have a bit of respect for John.
For
It's
John,
like,
yeah.
it's like, no, you came in here prepared, and fair enough for that. You came ready,
Yep.
and so he doesn't just sick him on him.
No.
But he does. John talks about how his history with the Dark Stars and his history in the Marines, and he was a sniper, and on the battlefield he has no problem taking them out because everyone signed up to be there, kind of thing. Everyone was knowing what they were, but he doesn't want that to cross over into the civilians, essentially.
Nope. Exactly.
And Zod's kind of, he doesn't really give a shit, which is like, yeah, well, it's your problem. You should think about that first. So the way John,
how does John get him?
Yeah, he goes, you know what, it's fine. Before I even came in here, I knew that I'd won. I knew you were going to help me. And he goes, because you hate the Green Lanterns because of how they didn't hack Krypton.
Mm-hmm.
And so that Green Lantern. Yeah, well, his son is leading in the Dark Stars. So come with us, and you get a chance to take him on.
Yep, you'll get first dibs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, but then we get to back to Guy and Arkella who've cleared out the bar. They're just sitting there.
Yep.
And you know, then the Dark Stars show up, and they suit up, right? They're gonna take them on, and the Dark Stars just look too powerful, and they're like, "Look, we're not here to fight. We're here to recruit one of you."
Yeah, and then obviously Arkelo thinks it's him. It's like,
Yep.
but he's like, "Nah, I'm too loyal to Sinestro, so you can just stuff it, basically."
Yep, and it's Guy. Guy goes, "He's not talking about you. He's talking to me." And what does Guy Gardner do? Because he doesn't think things out, which is why I love the guy so much.
Yeah.
But he signs up to the Dark Stars,
Yeah.
and it's a great single-page spread of him in the new helm. I wish, though, because you know how Tomar 2's has the fin on?
Yeah, you just wish there was something a bit more distinguishing to
wish
show that was Guy.
It would have made his collar a little bit.
Oh, that would have been amazing. Yeah.
Right? Make it look a little like football pad-ish, like his vest does
Yeah.
now. But yeah, so I don't know if this Fool's Gambit's going to work. I hope it doesn't, because
It really reminds me of Guy, you know, when he goes into the Reds as undercover.
It
This is
does.
what it feels like. He's like, I've done it before, I'll do it again.
And then it bounces back to Hector Hammond and Hal. And Hammond's so creepy. It still kills me, like, that he was the villain in the Green Lantern movie. That was terrible. Because there's a way to do him that's very horror-driven.
Yeah, like this here, it's the idea that Hammond's trying to be good now, to an extent. And this is why he took out Atomic Skull. He's like, oh no, he's a villain. Can't be having him running around. And Hal's like, no, it's fine. He's trying to do better. He's changed, just like you. And it's like, so you've got to give him the chance to prove himself. And Hammond's like, I could just pop his head. Then we know for certain.
We're done. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm not sure taking this guy to the Dark Stars is the best idea, frankly.
Yeah.
I feel like this might backfire.
Because it's Hal. 'Cause that's what happens to Hal, right?
Pretty much.
I just feel the orange energy of the Dark Stars and then the orange energy of Hammond. I feel that's foreshadowing. And plus, imagine Hammond in a Dark Star helm. He's gonna look like MODOK.
It's really funny enough. Just at the end of this, Hal flies him off, and he puts him in a big, astronaut suit, and it's just, the giant head suit.
When he says, "Look at me, I'm a hero."
Yeah, but I can't imagine him in the giant head version of a Dark Star suit.
No, but I do feel that's where it's going. I feel he's going to go, or they'll swap Guy for him, or whatever it is.
I think so. Yeah.
But it's no Kyle. I was disappointed in that because I feel now we're going to get a whole issue dealing with Venditti and the New Gods, and I'm not about that life.
Yeah, yeah.
But
maybe I'll be all right.
Yeah. So, but no, this all around good issue. I think the art, despite
it's fantastic. Yeah.
It looks good, But yeah. So, what would you rate it?
I gave this a 7.5.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I have it about a 7. So, the story's kind of, I like the Atomic Skull stuff, but I really like the John Stewart and Zod
stuff, yeah.
And then the Guy stuff is there, but it's still kind of all over.
Yeah,
it feels like
it's ramping up towards the end now. It's like, okay, we're pulling in all the threads for the final showdown.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, else?
All right, well, we'll move on to something me and Matt read. Mira, Queen of Atlantis, number 4. Dan Abnett writing, Len Medina on art. And this is Mira and Orm and Zebul try to convince them to join up, and it basically becomes them fighting. What was it?
An octopod.
It wasn't an octopod. It was an octodon or something like that. Was it?
Octodon. There we go.
Yeah, because I remember thinking it was like an octopus and a mastodon combined.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cool. All that fighting I thought was great. And you have that, and then you have like her seeing her grandmother, Mira seeing her grandmother, and kind of like the conflict there. Orm trying to convince the King of Zebul that, hey, this is a good idea, and and then he gets pissed when he finds out Mira's going to be the Queen of Atlantis. Like, he's just surpassed you.
Yeah, so this is what I didn't realize when it came to Zebul is it's not they're very much Rome, right? If Atlantis is Greece, Zebul's Rome, And even though Mira was born to the king, she doesn't have a right to the throne, right? That's how Nereus got appointed to become king. So the fact that she could be from Zebul and ascend to the throne in Atlantis just really is an alien concept to Nereus. So, and I like how he did that. I know you don't like Game of Thrones, Pete, but this feels very Game of Thrones, dealing with the grandmother and the history of Zebul versus the history of Atlantis, and how they normally don't go well together.
Yeah, because we find out that our grandmother is essentially like kind of like Zebul's version of the widowhood. That's kind of what she's a part of. Don't
she's
call it that,
actually
though.
running the show.
Yeah, and you think she's kind of making peace with her, but at the end of the issue, the cliffhanger is that, oh no, we're going to like help them and betray them because my daughter needs to be punished for her betrayal of Zebul. Like she's like, oh, okay, so we're holding a grudge here. They're still pissed at Mira for everything she did.
That's Zebul, and so I definitely enjoy the stuff here with Zebul and where they stand with Atlantis, because I feel like that's an era of Aquaman I'm not too familiar with, and I think this issue did a really good job showing how different they are.
Yeah, and I like Mira working with Orm. It kind of felt like they were oddly allies here just by default because Zebul was so against both of them that they kind of had to. Because they end up defeating the Octodon by... It's a great made-up word, Connor. I love it. Octodon.
Sorry, what? I wasn't listening.
No, don't worry about it. It's a giant monster.
Giant monster. It's like an octopus, but it's got like a big body as well, so it's an Octodon.
Yeah. So the whole reason that they're fighting is because that's how you gain, like, the right to speak to the king. Yeah. It's like a trial by combat, and if you win, they'll listen to you. And so they have to fight this big creature.
And Mira fights it off, and then Orm like throws his trident through it. It's you know, it's a great little moment. And then meanwhile, back on the dry land, we have Tula sort of bonding with Orm's girlfriend and kind of convincing her, hey, no, like, you know, be fine. And at least the Tula eventually deciding, you know what, I'm going to go help and make sure they're okay and make sure that Orm comes back to you. Because she sees like photos of Orm smiling with the kids, like she sees like selfies of Orm with the kid, and I'm like, this is weird. I'm so used to seeing Orm like this.
Yeah, and he's my brother. Like,
yeah.
I grew up with him, and this is not him. So whatever you've done, it's good for him.
Also, I love that when she said she refers to her as Orm's got this new anchor, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to approve of that. The use of that word, the pun, because we're talking about Aquaman and Orm and Atlantis and whatnot.
Yeah, I like Tula stuff a lot because it, she always has felt like an outsider.
Yeah.
To Atlantis, and now she's, gonna go and help and do what she needs to. But she gets apprehended before she can enter the water by forces I don't recognize.
No, they're obviously underwater forces. I don't know if they're Zebul, Atlantis, but they're definitely of an underwater civilization. But who they are, I'm assuming Zebul at this point. But I mean, who's to say?
Who knows?
Yeah,
but
we'll find out.
Yeah, but no, Connor, I was telling Pete when you got up, it's very. If you wanted to jump back into this, it's very Game of Thrones. With what's going on between Zebul and...
Is it still the same artist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think that's fine. It's not a standout, but it works for the book.
It's fine. I do like on certain panels, the artist draws Mira like the actress. I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard. There's some panels where she looks very much like that, and I appreciate that.
I thought the fight with the giant monster looked good. And the general face stuff is fine. It's not like standout, but it's kind of it's kind of what I expect from kind of the John's New 52 era of Aquaman, as opposed to what's happening right now in the main Aquaman book with what's his face.
But they still refer to those things like with Cormac breaking through the magic. We need to. He's gonna come for you. Like don't get this. Once he conquers all of Atlantis, he's coming for Zebul, and whether you're with him or without him. So if you stand and fight, you're probably going to lose. And if you don't fight, he's going to conquer you anyways, because that's his life. So, but they don't know he's turned himself into a big, massive fish monster. So we'll see how that plays in. But I'm really enjoying the series. It's a nice adventure from Mira.
Yeah, I think it's a nice little compliment to the main book. And it's given Orm and Mira some some development outside of everything else. So ratings, what would you give it?
This is 7.5.
I'd probably go with a straight 7. I think it's good, but not necessarily amazing or rocking anyone's world, but it's a solid little read. Alright, that'll take us on to something me and Connor read. That is The Silencer number 5. That's funny, but that's like the 3 books in a row, and it's like all the possible pairs of people reading them. This is The Silencer number 5. It's Dan Abnett writing again, Victor Bogdanovich on the art, and Deathstroke showed up at the end of the last issue to confront the Silencer, and he's basically there to say, hey, you started this war that Leviathan's going in. Talia dragged you into it, and it's basically him trying to say, "Hey, Talia, you can't trust her. She dragged you into this intentionally. She put the hit on you." And
we're there going, "No shit."
Yeah, and she's like, "No, I can kind of trust her." It's like, "No, you can't. Like, you killed this guy who was trying to get out. Like, she's going to do the same to you." And funny enough, because he seems almost noble, not noble, but by the end of the issue, you realise that no, he's actually working for one of the other bosses in Leviathan to actually lure Talia out, and he's using Silencer to get to her. Because this whole conversation with her and Deathstroke is like the first good half or so of the issue. It's a big chunk of it, with this debate back and forth. And then eventually she goes home, she's her husband or her kid, and we actually finally get to the point, I think, from the start of the first issue, where they're in the diner, and you realise they're talking to Talia, because Talia shows up.
As soon as she says the husband's going away, and I'm like, oh, she's left with the kid on her own. It's like, oh, we're getting to that bit from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Talia's there, and she confronts her on all her shit, and she basically says, you know what, yeah, fine, I did intentionally pull you back out. You don't get to leave. You're Leviathan. You never get to leave. And she's just ready to confront her. She's standing up, and it's that panel from the first start of the first issue where she's pointing at her and like, hey, you bitch, like, no. Yeah. And just at that moment, that's when gunfire starts, and there's like assassins coming for them, and it's like, okay, here we go.
Deathstroke sent the signal, told them that they're here, because he just followed Silencer, being like, hey, where she's going to meet up with us, so we'll just stay on her until she does.
Yeah,
and of course it worked, because she's out of the game. She's as Deathstroke says, she's thinking like a civilian, and she's not up to scratch like she should be. So it's easy.
And we end the issue, she's got the sun in a silence bubble as she's getting ready to try and protect him and fight against the bad guys. With kind of begrudgingly with Talia, I imagine. We'll see how that...
yeah, well, you can deal with Talia later. Yeah. Right now, they just need to survive.
The art's fantastic. I think, given that more than half the book is this one conversation between Deathstroke and Silencer, it plays a lot with shadows to make it interesting visually. There's a lot of standoff kind of moments between them.
And there's a lot of sparring moments here, or like they'll intersperse where someone will make a move and they'll get shut down, and they'll stop for a minute, and then the other one will make their move.
And again, it's all very in the shadows. It's all very covert. This is back of the building, sneaky, shady conversations.
Yeah, I think this is much better than the last issue, which I thought was pretty clunky and overwritten. This is a lot slicker.
Well, this is very focused. It's pretty much one conversation, then the fallout from it, and then the cliffhanger. And I love her walking home actually in the rain with the hoodie on. Again, it's very atmospheric. Yeah. It's good stuff. And then she phones Talia, says, I need to talk to you. She's like, oh, I'll decide when it's time. And then she just shows up in the middle. And I like actually just another thing in the art is when she arrives at the diner with her kid, she's getting out. You see her like leave the car, and she's holding the kid in her arms, and he's got a toy in his hand. And then the very last thing in that page, it's the same panel again, but inside the scope of a gun. And it just lets you know they're being watched. Like her son is in danger here. That her assassin world is starting to bleed into her real world here, like fully. And it's just
of course, the next page it shows you that it was Deathstroke watching them. But you could kind of guess that from the rest of the issue anyway. So it doesn't like treat it as a big shock.
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
sure.
Letting you know that he's there.
It's making his point again that she's trying to be a civilian. She's going to a diner with her son for some lunch or whatever. And no, wait a minute, like. The assassin life is catching up with her, and then Talia comes in. In fact, that's the other thing is she is pissed that Talia's coming to see her in front of her son. She is, and Talia's doing that out of like protection for herself. You won't do anything stupid in front of your kid. That's her thinking. So no,
good logic.
Yeah, no, this is really solid issue. We've been digging this book, and yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes next. So no, I really feel like I'm meeting in the minds, and it feels perfect that Deathstroke's part of her world. Like that's part of the same world.
It does. It feels really natural. It's why this feels like one of the most well integrated to the DC universe books out of this line. Obviously, Terrifics is fully in dealing with all that stuff, But this one, it feels like no, this is part of that world. We got Talia, we got Deathstroke.
Yeah, in terms
It
of
just
crossing
feels like
over
an
with other
extension.
characters, so far this is definitely the one that feels naturally part of the
Whereas
world.
some of the others, like Damage and Brimstone, just feel very removed, right? Just doing their own thing somewhere else.
I mean, yeah, Suicide Squad did show up in Damage, but I don't know.
right,
I don't know where it went with it beyond what I saw.
right. But if you told me that was not in a DC universe and it was just okay, that's a separate story, I'll
Yeah.
go okay then.
But hey, so yeah, would you rate it?
I give it just a straight 7.
7. I'll go a touch higher. I think I liked how focused this one was. I'll go with 7.5. I don't think it quite hits the great territory of an 8, but 7.5, really solid. So we'll take us on then to our last new book of the week, which is Super Sons number 16, Pierre J. Tomasi writing, Carlo Barberi and Brent Peoples on the art. This was supposed to be next week originally, but somehow it got pushed back or forward to this week. So this is sort of dealing with the cliffhanger. Kid Amazo's got the Justice League, he's using them as a battery, and Robin and Superboy have to save the day, even though he has all the powers of the Justice League. And Robin basically, Superboy fights him off as long as he can, whilst Robin does the plan. I'm the muscle and you're the thinker. And
Yep.
he beats him because he steals tech. Batman has a backup of all of his data in his glove, and he basically steals the tech that Batman's got on record on how to defeat the rest of the Justice League and uses that to beat Kid Amazo, which leads to a great moment of John going, "Your dad has ways to take down everyone else." It's like, what, doesn't your dad? Well, he's got their birthdays on the calendar.
Yeah, that was great. Well, it's also, I like they actually used Cyborg properly, I feel.
Yeah, Cyborg's
Yeah.
around. Cyborg is there with them fighting, and then
They're helping, and so Kid Amazo's whole thing is he's going to turn John into the new Kid Amazo because it's a never-ending battery, right? Because he absorbs people, and with John, he absorbs suns like Superman. So John breaks out, but Cyborg's there, and Robin has to keep telling Cyborg, stop fighting, let Kid Amazo absorb you, basically, and then I'll shut you down, you'll reboot, and he's like, I don't know if this is going to work, and Robin's like, he does his tisk, and it all works out for the better.
yeah.
But yeah, I liked it the way that they used Cyborg. They made him feel like a proper Justice League member.
Absolutely. The art's really good. I love there's some great panels of Damien and then Superboy grabbing Superman's cape to sort of almost look like he's with a bull. It's like he's treating Cyborg like a bull, and he's got the red cape. He's using that as his what do you call it? What do you call the red thing?
It's just a cape.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I thought there was a name for it specifically. The
Yeah, no. But yeah.
But yeah, so he does that. That's kind of how they save the day. But I think, and obviously everyone's pleased with him. Batman's you infected Cyborg and rebooted him, and that saved everyone. Good job. that's basically Batman's reaction to all this.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman gives him some props. Flash gives him some props. So it's we have to build you your new base again. And Superman's Batman will pay for it.
Obviously.
But no, I think the most notable thing here is the wraparound, the start and the end of the book.
Which I wish they had started this earlier. I wish they had started this at the beginning of the arc instead of throwing it in here.
Yeah, I feel like the first page of this should have been at the start of the last issue. I wonder if this was just all put in here last minute to set up the next, the Adventures of Super Sons, because basically an old man is reading from a book called Adventures of Super Sons, and he's reading it to a young boy and girl, and they're like, no, there's more adventure, because at the end of the book they're like, no, that's not the last story. What did they call him? Just call him Pop.
Like
and it's that's not the last story. They had more adventures. They did this, they did that, and it teases maybe one or two stories. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll tell you the stories. But
don't tell your parents.
Yeah, don't tell your parents. So my assumption here, this is my gut feeling, is that this is Grandpa Bruce, and this is the children of Damien and John that are here in the stories.
Because you see the little girl levitating.
Yeah.
In the wraparound. I also like how she says that they were saving the Justice Legion, and the boy corrects her. It's like, no, it's Justice League. She goes, oh, Justice Legion was better. That comes
Justice later.
Legion,
yeah.
If that becomes a thing, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah, because he corrects and says, no, that comes later. Justice Legion's a later thing.
We know we're getting the Legion. Right?
At some point, yeah.
At some point, yeah.
So no, this is a fun idea. So I think this is Damien's son and John's daughter hearing the stories from their grandpa, who I think is Bruce. It just feels like Bruce more than Superman.
He feels older.
Yeah.
And he feels very much like Mr. Fredricksen from Up, because like, okay, I'll tell you the stories. Like, he's very put upon and cranky, and I don't feel like Clark would be cranky.
And the
last, come here, I want to tell you a story.
And the last panel, as it says "end" in the Bat logo or the Bat Superman logo, is just the old man, presumably Bruce, just winking as if like, yeah, it's not really the end. Come back next time. So
yeah, I wish this had started like the beginning of this had started in the last one. Like,
that's fair.
This is the story of how they defeated Kid Amazo. But other than that, no, it was a fun, nice read. So
yeah, absolutely. So I'm thinking this wraparound is going to be a big thing in the 12-issue series. Is this? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that's why I said I wasn't worried when it said it's a flashback story, because I'm like, no, it's a flashback because we're getting the How I Met Your Mother
from the perspective of the
it is.
Yeah.
It very much reminded me of How I Met Your Mother.
But that won't drag out for 10 years and have a really stupid ending.
A really bad ending. Kind of ruin the show. Like, I can't even watch it in reruns.
Honestly, they should have ended that show with a joke ending where they look out the window and it's the post-apocalyptic future. They should have totally just done that. That'd have been way funnier.
Yeah, your mom's a robot. That's I bought her.
Anyway, so that is Super Suds. Let's rate that then. Matt, what are you giving Super Suds?
Let's go 8.
Yeah, I'm kind of 7.58 range.
I couldn't decide which one, but
yeah. I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. I think it's pretty great. Super Suds has been great pretty much almost the whole way through. Yeah. The planet stuff they went to for a couple issues was a bit weaker, but I always have fun with them interacting with each other and doing their stuff. Arguably, the plots don't tend to be that great on their own. The plots are just fine. They're just there for them to do their stuff around, but that's okay, because that's the book. So that's Super Sons, which does mean we have one final thing, and that is the Connor's Corner has forced Red Hood, which if you don't know what this is, we have a Patreon tier where someone can make Connor read something. There's one for me as well, if anyone wants to punish me, but you can go to patreon.com/MailFustTV to see what that is. But Connor is being forced to read Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 20, Scott Lobdell, Dexter Soy. Take it away, as Brainy... not Brainy, I did this last week. Is Bizarro dumb yet again? What's happening?
No, he's not. not even hint of it in this issue. Oh. Right, okay. I'll get the biggest problem out of the way first. Is the premise that this introduces is a fantastic idea, and then it squanders it with a really awful structure for the issue. So we open with, this guy is in Burnside, and he's on an app called Henchmates, and it's where you sign up to be a henchman for one of the Gotham villains.
I like that idea. That's fun.
Right, exactly. I'm like, okay, let's
good.
play with that.
I'll take that.
That's pretty fantastic, and so it ultimately kind of becomes nothing though, because you get a bunch of the guys, they go for a meetup where, okay, we've registered for being this henchman. They're all in the meeting room, and Bizarro comes in and poison gases them all, and they're all dying until Red Hood's there, and Bizarro's like, all right, fine, I guess I shouldn't be killing them. I think he says, what's the difference between a good guy and a bad guy? If I'm a good guy but doing bad things for a good reason. And so he saves them eventually. He blows all the gas away. But it felt like, it's such a waste of that idea, that henchman idea. I really like that. And ultimately, it's just there for Bizarro to decide not to kill them.
That should come back. I would like a fun running gag. It's the sort of thing that I think Tom King could do well in Batman. Like a Kite Man-esque story with someone trying to sign up to be a henchman.
That's what I thought I was getting, because this opens with this random guy, I think called Ben or something like that, like signing up, and his girlfriend being like, "Hey, come on, are you still signing up for being a henchman? We're with friends here."
I hope I get Riddler.
I think you get to choose, maybe. I don't know. You get like little bits in the background, like one guy saying, "Oh, yeah, a recommendation from Two-Face means nothing." That the others don't like that.
I like the idea. It's like, you can sign up for Joker, but I mean, I don't like your chances of surviving more than a week.
That was like one of them. Like people are like, "Yeah, you couldn't pay me enough to work for Joker." Someone said they got fired for staring straight at her ivy. For Penguin, and Cold as well. They cover for frostbite if you get in the water. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's all these things in the background. I'm like, this is fantastic as a premise.
Do you know what this feels like? This feels like it could be a really good annual, like just a one-off story that's about this henchman app.
But aside from that, you've got Artemis kind of facing him and going, "Hey, I think you've got your own agenda, and it's bullshit, and that you're not trusting us and doing all this stuff. You've been manipulating us, and I want to know why." And Bizarro does the, if I told you, I'd have to kill you, and then brushes it off as a joke. But she goes snooping when Bizarro's out not killing all the henchmen, which he's doing because he's like, well, if I kill all the henchmen, the villains can't do anything, so I'm cutting off the arms essentially. But while they're out, she goes snooping in his room, and she gets a big axe out, which we've not seen for a while. The magic, the Thor style axe, and she pries open some floorboards and finds all of his synthetic kryptonite down there. And then the final page is Bizarro coming in. He's got the axe, and it's like, oh, I really wish you hadn't done that.
She didn't find his Bizarro porn collection, which is just all these people with their clothes on.
No. She did find the little the Superman doll though, and looked a bit weirded out by it.
Oh, pup.
Yeah.
I am shocked Matt remembered that.
I made sure to remember it.
Oh dear.
No, Dexter Soy's art's fantastic though.
That's pretty usual. I mean, I would really like this henchman app idea. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It does. We've still got Bizarro going around in the big hat and trench coat, like as disguise, and Soy plays it even better. With the way he plays the shadows of it is fantastic. And when he does the if I told you I have to kill you, you got just the face looking up at it, and it's this really ominous shot, and it's done so well. But, oh man, I just wish it wasn't wasted, because this is probably all we're going to get from this idea.
Yeah, probably. Who knows? Maybe someone else will see it and think, "Oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to run with that and do something with it."
Yeah, I hope so, because I actually think it's a great idea, and Lobdell does have good ideas.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree, because they just put over that Starfire story.
Yeah, exactly. He often executes them really badly, but every so often he has a really good idea. Yeah. And that's the thing here. Just structurally, it doesn't pay off, but it's a fantastic idea.
That's the Lobdell way, I guess.
Yeah,
it is.
But hey, I suppose you need to rate it if you're wrapping it up.
Yeah, I think it's probably like a 5, because I've got Soy back on art, and there's ideas in there. So yeah. It's better than it was last issue.
One of the higher rated issues, no doubt, of Red Hood from you. Alright, well, I guess that brings us to the part of the show where we pick our favourites of the week. Favourite cover, favourite artist, favourite panel/moment, and of course, top 5 books of the week. And you can joke about how it doesn't match what we rated them all with numbers, but that's okay. That sometimes happens.
Speak for yourself.
So start off with best panel/moment. Oh, this might be tough this week. Matt, you got any ideas here?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, it's the final page of Flash.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Can't fault that. Connor, what you got?
I'm going with the pat tapping the shoulder.
Oh, okay.
That killed me.
That's a fine pick. I mean, part of me really wants to go with something from Detective, but I'm thinking of the panels themselves. I don't know if there's anything that actually stands out on its own. There's great scenes in Detective, and I hate to just.
I don't know. I really got excited when I saw Clayface alive again.
Oh sure, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's a great scene. It's not an individual. I mean, unless you want the panel of him sticking it to the door.
I think if I'm picking something for Detective, just to be different from Matt, because I'm tempted to say the last page of Flash, I will pick when we see Babs. When Cass opens the door and we see it's Babs that's there to help her.
That's pretty great.
That's your moment. So, all right. So best cover of the week. Oh, and we've had some tweets from fans this week, critiquing who we may or may not pick for this. So, Connor, what are you doing for cover? What's your favorite cover?
There is a couple of really great covers. The Batgirl variant stands out as pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm going to go with the Flash variant, the Francesca Martina one. I think it's gorgeous.
Pretty great.
Yeah, Flash variant is pretty nice. It is it's beautiful. It's one of those beautiful painted covers. It's great. I, however, have to go with the Batgirl variant. It is absolutely gorgeous. The Middleton one. It is harsh light, which it kind of harkens back to the start of the run, because back when Albuquerque was doing stuff, it was a lot of harsh whites and stuff. But it's this beautiful profile shot of her face, beautifully painted. It's great.
It's a fantastic piece.
So Matt, what's your cover of the week?
So this is the cause of a lot of drama, right? Because we had a Dustin Nguyen variant that kind of wraps up all of Super Sons in one nice little image, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really great one. And this has been the problem, because that Middleton one is also really good for Batgirl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, well, what am I gonna pick? And then as I'm thumbing through, the green or the Howlin' Pals has a Tyler Kirkham variant.
Oh yeah, with the jacket.
Yeah, it just really speaks to my soul, like, because it's got Howlin' mid-transformation, and as much as I want to stick Pete with having to read Convergence, it really pains me to have to not pick Super Sons and go with Howlin' Pals. So, plus there's no collusion, right?
Yes,
I
no
gotta,
collusion, yes.
Gotta keep my integrity and my honor. Like,
Yes.
I'm a Superman fan.
Matt was offering to pick the win cover in exchange for someone making me read something through Patreon, so...
But here's
yeah.
the thing. Here's the thing.
No collusion.
Pal on Twitter, it is up for buying still. So if you really want to buy and make Peter read Convergence, it doesn't have to be anything about a pick of a cover. You can just do it.
Or you can make me read.
Still do.
You can make me read something good, which will just upset Connor and Matt, and that's fun too.
Or you
It's
can
not
make
fun
it
enough, though, is it?
Convergence and have me and Connor laugh.
I feel like Matt's just picking something that he hates as opposed to something that he knows I hate specifically.
Bro, you will not like Convergence.
I probably won't. But with
you
Red,
like good things. Your number one story was Arkham Asylum.
But with Connor with Red Hood, that was specifically something that Connor himself had complained about, and it was personally something he hated.
I had to talk to this guy that had given you the rest of JLA from Orlando to give you Convergence. Would you rather have that? Come on, man.
There's no good choice here. There's no good choices here.
I'm saying
there's bad and terrible. That's all I'm saying.
Or you can just give him something completely, even make him read Harley Quinn, go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's just not do any of this. And
you put it up there, man. And if I'm going to give Connor garbage for Red Hood,
notice how Matt's not offered to have a tier for himself yet.
No,
he's not.
You know why? Because I'm smart and I respect my brain. I've done my time reading bad stuff, and I did it to myself.
That was the best cover of the week. So best art of the week. Next up. So Connor, why is it No Justice?
Yeah.
Look,
Marcus Toe was really good though.
No, Marcus Toe stuff was pretty good. But that's not enough for me to say that's the best art of the week.
Actually, I've got mine if you want me to jump in first.
It's easy. It's terrific. It's
Shaner. Yeah. I was looking down the list and going, is there anything that competes with that? And there isn't for me. So
the closest that I've got is Van Sciver on Howlin' Pals, which is great, but Shayna just is above and beyond.
Yeah, Shaner. Yeah.
I really like Segovia on Wonder Woman, but
yeah, he's good. Obviously, Porter on Flash is pretty good, but Mikayu Jung on Batgirl's pretty good, but Shayner's just fantastic on Terrifics. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, simple. All right, top 5 books of the week then, and I will go over to Matt first for his.
Yeah, so number 1's Flash, without a doubt. God, I love everything going on right now. 2 is Tech. 3 is... Oh, man, this is where it starts to get dodgy. I guess 3 is Terrifics. 4 is Super Sons, and 5 is No Justice.
Cool,
yeah.
Connor.
So I'm going with Detective at 1, Terrifics at 2, Flash will be 3rd, this is where it gets a bit. Yeah, fourth is Hal Jordan, and fifth is Batgirl.
Cool. Flash is my number 1. Detective at 2. Terrific's at number 3. And then and then we go probably to Silencer?
I was say you seem to really
Yeah.
like Silencer.
Silencer, then Super Sons, I think. Is where I'd probably go. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. Like, I think Villain No Justice with better art would have been in contention for 4 or 5, but
Yeah.
unfortunately just I
Yeah.
can't. So there you go. That is the top 5 books of the week, which leaves me to tell you what's coming next week. So week 5, but don't let that trick you.
Don't let that fool you. Yeah.
Yeah, don't let that trick you into thinking it's not a big week, because I mean, the overall total might not be as high. But next week, Doomsday Clock number 5, Man of Steel number 1, Justice League No Justice number 4, Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Robin versus Ra's al Ghul number 1, Wonder Woman Annual number 2, Green Lantern's Annual number 1, and Green Arrow Annual number 2. Also coming out next week, which we will not be covering, is Bane Conquest 11 and Raven Daughter of Darkness number 5. Also worth mentioning, there are 4 of the Looney Tunes crossover issues coming out. You get Aquaman Jabberjaw, Black Lightning Hong Kong Phooey, The Flash Speed Buggy, and Super Sons Dynomutt. It's up to you, like you guys, if you want to read any of those.
I'm going to be reading Aquaman Jabberjaw.
Yeah, you can talk about it next week. No reason why not.
Yeah, it's got Pelletier on Aquaman, who's one of my favorite Aquaman artists.
Yeah, I
And
feel like
Jabberjaw. Who doesn't love Jabberjaw?
yeah, Jabberjaw's pretty cool. I feel like the one that's speaking to me the most is the Hong Kong Phooey one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm with. Hill and there's a backup with Parker and Collins on art.
Speed Buggy and Dynomutt I never saw as a kid, so I really have no attachment to those.
Dynomutt, that could be fun if it brings in the Super Pets, but I don't think it's going to.
You never know.
But yeah. I might read that one too because it's Super Sons and it's Tomasi.
That's Tomasi, yeah. So
yeah.
Potentially there, but so yeah, it's still a pretty big week for a week 5. So lots of big stuff to talk about next week. So you can look forward to that. And that is the show. That is episode 105 of Comics from the Multiverse, which leads us to sort of plug and promote and say our goodbyes and our thank yous. You can get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. You can get us individually on Twitter. Matt, where can people find you?
You can find me at Man of Steel 57 or 57, however you want to say it. It works.
For some reason, if they want to find Connor, where would they do that?
At ConnorRand94. I have lots of amazing insights on Twitter sometimes.
You can find me at Wibble89. Of course, you can check us out on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. The monthly episode that me and Connor do for patrons at the $5 tier is coming sometime within the next week. Superman Birthright won the vote, so that's what we're going to be talking about. You can look forward to that. I mentioned earlier on my Pillbox series. That is also another Patreon bonus. There's multiple ones at different tiers, one of which is actually free after a month of exclusivity. But I basically I'm working my way through 3 books at a time, 1 issue per week of each series, and I just sit down. It's an audio-only show. I talk for about 20 minutes just talking about what's in the issue. It's a good way of discovering some of the old stuff. I'm working through Silver Age Green Lantern, Mark Waid's Flash, and the original New Teen Titans runs right now. I'm having good fun doing that, so you can check out that. But there's other bonuses there as well for other stuff we do, like Television from the Multiverse, which is our DC TV show that me and Connor do. I do horror movie reviews with Tim, Screams After Midnight. Me and Matt do new movies. Me and Connor do old movies. There's a lot of stuff to check out.
Especially for the DC TV, it's a big week this week because we got a lot of the shows ending.
Yeah, Flash finale, Krypton finale, and we're working our way through Young Justice season 1, and we happen to be on the finale of that as well.
Yeah.
That said, though, we'll be going straight into season 2 the following week, but you know,
we will. We're going to be ready for 3.
Yes. So lots of big things. Getting to prepare for Doom Patrol TV shows and Swamp Thing TV shows and all sorts. But hey, so check out all that stuff. Otherwise, let us know what you thought of the books. Like and subscribe, all the usual stuff, all the things that help out and support the show. All that stuff, and that is it. So that is 105, so thank you very much to everyone who's been watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading comic books and superhero things and obsess over timelines and flashes and whether or not Stephanie Brown will get her Waffle Queen due in the coming months, which is what's important, more than Tim. So thank you very much. Once again, keep reading comics. We'll see you next time. And always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
Go Knights.